Hello everyone. I welcome you all on EduTap and also welcome on the first session that we are going to have for ARD static. All right, so I'll just open the PPT. All right. So see, so now we are starting with ARD static. Okay, so first I'll give you a brief idea what we are going to do in these sessions, right? And then we will start off with today's class. Apologies, I got late by 2 minutes today. From next time, I'll be more punctual. I can already see everybody have joining. Good afternoon, everybody. All right. So see what we are going to do. So we are going to approach the strategy that see, first of all, we are going to understand the basic concepts. Well, I am assuming that some of you might have studied and now here for revision. But what we are going to do, because what we have earlier, we have approached this particular, we had this approach that we have first we did MCQs and then we were I was telling the answers and I was explaining the concept, but afterwards with a lot of feedback we got to know it is better that if we explain the concept first and then we are going to have a revision kind of session and in the MCQ format. Okay, so after every end of the session we are going to look at some of the questions which can be of basic nature, which can be of good level also, right? But after 3-4 days or 4-5 days, when I feel like our pace is going fine and we can add more sorts of questions, so we can in between have good revision session, having good quality of questions, right? Rest apart, what I would suggest you, okay, wait, I think I'll just check it. Can anybody tell me if it's better now?
Is it fine now? It's fine now? Okay. Okay, thank you. All right, I'm really sorry. Okay, so I was just discussing, so I'll just briefly say what I was saying. I was saying that what you have to do as a homework every day, whatever chapter that we are doing. Okay, I don't know since when my voice was lost, so I'll just tell you the essence of the strategy. Okay, whenever we are covering chapters, whatever chapters we are covering that day, it is your homework to go and first of all read the summary sheet thoroughly, because after explaining the concept it would be easier for you to understand them, right? But because please understand, in the session we will be explaining the concept in a very simple manner, in a simple language, right? However, there will be very detailed explanation and concept that will be present. So nothing as in I will not leave anything, but still it's advisable to go through summary sheet, and after that you have sectional quizzes of all the chapters, right? So this is the only work you have to do. You have to revise everything what has been taught daily, and then you have to attempt the quiz. And you have to, I'm sorry, you have to push forward for you at least for this month if you want to clear phase 1 and you want to end up in the organization, right? So we will what we are going to do today, see, first of all we will understand the introduction to agriculture. Okay, Tushar is saying I'm not audible again, so is it fine? Could anyone please tell me, like, is it, it's fine? Okay, okay, ठीक है. So okay, so first we are going to do first chapter, which is introduction to agriculture. ठीक है, we are going to understand that. Next we are going to understand the agronomy. This was according to our syllabus, the schedule that have been provided, right? At the end of both chapters we are going to do some practice questions that are related to these chapter only. Okay, so now let's start off with the first chapter, which is the introduction to agriculture. Okay, if we look at the term what is agriculture, so it has been derived from Latin word which is your ager, okay, and one is your cultura. Okay, so you have two Latin words, and from that these are ager and cultura, from which combining those agriculture word has been made. Okay, now ager, it means land or soil, and cultura means basically to culture there something, right? So you have to understand one thing. We are talking about the time this name was given during the time when we were at the very basic, from the very basic we had started doing agriculture. So at that time it was said that whenever you culture anything, any plant in the land or soil, we call it agriculture, right? But if, as we move ahead and we understood that we can rear livestock also, right? And we can go for forestry also, forestry where we are not considering with the plants but trees we are cultivating for the various purpose. It can be for the timber purpose, right? For other forest amenities that can be derived, right? And we know that we have now expanded to the aquaculture as well. Aquaculture means where we are utilizing the resources that are inside water, right? Water bodies resources को भी हम utilize कर रहे हैं, right? So now from now perspective the definition has now been changed with the advancement of time. But from the basic you have to understand, if we talk about what is agriculture, so agriculture, it is called the science and art of cultivating crops and rearing of livestock. ठीक है, अगर definition की बात करें, जो एक basic definition जो अभी तक चली आ रही है, that talks about science and art of cultivation of crops as well as rearing of livestock. Okay, that is known as what? That is known as agriculture. However, now a lot of new terms have been added, like now new resources now we are utilizing in agriculture. Okay, so here origin that we have discussed, ठीक है, so it has derived from ager and cultura, ठीक है, ये चीज समझ ली हमने. बाकी now talk about the branches of agriculture, ठीक है. So as we just discussed that initially when it started just with the cultivation of crops, then we moved ahead to livestock, then we added various other natural resources that can be utilized for our purpose, and we included everything in agriculture. Why in agriculture? Because here we are talking about living beings only, ठीक है. तो अब उसमें भी now in branches of agriculture we have now 3 options, ठीक है. We have 7 branches under it. Okay, the name are as follows. We have agronomy, horticulture. I'll just first read out name and then I'll explain what is it, ठीक है. Next we have forestry, then we have animal husbandry, fisheries, agricultural engineering and home science, ठीक है. ये कुछ branches है agriculture की. क्या है, ठीक है. अब जैसे आपका जो term है agronomy, okay, agronomy, it is derived from a Greek word. You have to keep in mind sometimes देखो, however these sort of questions are lesser chances of being asked in examination, that are they from Latin origin, Greek origin. However, you cannot deny the possibility, because I am saying so because such questions like it is originated from which language or which it has which origin, all such questions are asked in other examinations, ठीक है. तो अगर other examination में कुछ चीजें पूछे जा रही है, if something is being asked in other examination, it means somewhere it has its importance, right? So you don't have to mug up, but yes, currently when we are studying we can memorize these things, ठीक है. तो agriculture came from the Latin word, but agronomy it derives from your Greek word, ठीक है, which is your agro, ठीक है. एग्रो वर्ड से आपका आता है, और दूसरा आपका आता है नोमोस, ठीक है. एग्रो आपका यहाँ पे जो वर्ड है एग्रोनॉमी का, ठीक है, इट मीन्स व्हाट? इट मीन्स योर फील्ड, and your nomos means to manage. Okay, so basically when you manage the field or the crops that are grown in field, that is known as agronomy, ठीक है. इसको simple language में, in more simple language if I have to tell you, it means basically that whatever thing that has been grown in a field, it comes under agronomy. Such crops which are grown in field, those comes under agronomy, ठीक है. Next is your next we have I'm sorry, please give me a minute. I'm sorry, that was from office. Maybe YouTube में आवाज नहीं आ रही, ऐसा कह रहे हैं. So yeah, I think that's fine now. Okay, so next week है. Yeah, I got a message that YouTube में नहीं आ रहा है, तो I had to like break this. I'm really sorry. It happens in a first day, you know, when it's first day, so टेक्निकल इश्यूज आर देयर, आई एम रियली सॉरी फॉर दैट, ठीक है। तो नेक्स्ट हम बात कर रहे थे कोई भी विच एवर क्रॉप वी आर ग्रोइंग ऑन फील्ड, इट इज नोन एज एग्रोनॉमी। ओके, नाउ नेक्स्ट टर्म वी हैव हॉर्टिकल्चर, ठीक है। हॉर्टिकल्चर इज अगेन डेराइव्ड फ्रॉम लैटिन वर्ड, ठीक है। तो इसको या तो ऑल्टरनेटिवली याद रखना, फर्स्ट वी स्टडीड एग्रीकल्चर दैट इज लैटिन, देन एग्रोनॉमी दैट इज ग्रीक, देन हॉर्टिकल्चर दैट इज लैटिन अगेन, ठीक है। Here now it has been derived from the word which is known as hortus and culture, cultura, ठीक है। cultura से आपका आएगा culture, ठीक है। Now hortus actually it means garden, ठीक है। it simply it means garden, okay। so in horticulture we grow garden crops। अब देखो here I want to differentiate between the two, it because it can be confusing afterwards that which crop comes under agriculture, I'm sorry for under agronomy or horticulture, right? See, again you have to keep in mind these names were given at during the time when the agriculture was at the minimal level, है ना, एकदम बेसिक से स्टार्ट हुआ था। so at that time, now if you think of any vegetable, right, any vegetable plant, so you must be knowing that from that plant we have recurrent production, recurrent harvesting we can do, right? If it's a tomato plant, for months it will give it will start producing, it will give us the result, ठीक है। so initially, when such vegetables, fruits, when they were cultivated in the field, they did not require much area, right? Because at the initial time, people they used to do agriculture just for their family purpose only. ठीक है, तो they don't used to do it at the large scale. ठीक है, so at that time, in a small place, in a garden area, they used to grow such crops which can give them multiple harvest. Okay, so such crops, whatever crops now that you can think of, vegetable, fruits, your spices, plantations, okay, all these things come under your horticulture crops, ठीक है। अब agronomy में we are saying now, if you imagine cereals, right? If for example, if you imagine of rice, wheat, legume, now from these plants what happen, you do harvesting at one time only, right? However, they can some of the crops they can give multiple harvest also, but अभी इतना detail में जाने की जरूरत नहीं है। Simply we have to understand from the general perspective so that you can memorize from the examination perspective, ठीक है। For example, wheat, for example, rice, for example, legumes, these are harvested only once, right? So they must have been, during that time when these names were given, they must have been cultivated in larger fields, right? So that they can get actually some grains in their hand so that they can cook for maybe a year or maybe till the next season, right? So agronomy, it includes such field, such crops which are grown in field. So in that you don't have to get confused that vegetables, why vegetable now it is grown in such bigger fields, why is it not under agronomy, okay? You have to link it during the that time. Why is it happening?
Tell me that if my voice is clear, because now I have removed my handset, ठीक है, headset I have removed, but I don't know if my voice will be like audible. Is it fine? Like, is it fine? Is it clear? Like, you can properly hear me. ठीक है, so what I'm doing, I'm removing this headset. I think there is some issue that is there. ठीक है, तो I'll just remove this and we'll start off with the session. And again, I want to apologize, but usually it happens in the first day that we face such problems. ठीक है, तो हम बात कर रहे थे हॉर्टिकल्चर की, ठीक है। सो आई होप नाउ यू हैव द आइडिया कि एग्रोनॉमी क्या है, ठीक है। एग्रोनॉमी में कौन सी क्रॉप्स आ जाएंगी, हॉर्टिकल्चर में कौन सी क्रॉप्स आ जाएंगी, ठीक है। नेक्स्ट वी हैव फॉरेस्ट्री, ठीक है। फॉरेस्ट्री में क्या आ जाएगा, तो फॉरेस्ट में यू कैन अंडरस्टैंड इट इंक्लूड्स ट्रीज, ठीक है। एंड फॉरेस्ट्री, व्हेन वी विल गो थ्रू दिस पर्टिकुलर चैप्टर, वी विल सी दैट देयर आर सब कॉम्पोनेंट्स अंडर इट, ठीक है, सब पार्ट है। तो फॉरेस्ट्री खुद में एक बड़ा कॉम्पोनेंट है, लेकिन इसमें एक चीज बताती हूँ जिसमें है सिल्वीकल्चर, ठीक है। सिल्वीकल्चर स्पेसिफिकली इट डील्स विद द कल्टिवेशन ऑफ ट्रीज दैट वी डू फॉर टिम्बर पर्पस, फ्यूल पर्पस एटसेट्रा, ओके। तुम मुझे कंफ्यूज कर रहे हो, आई थिंक तुम सारी क्लास आज ऐसी कर दोगे, ठीक है। कैन यू प्लीज लाइक स्टिक टू वन थिंग। हम आपके अपनी साइड में माइक नहीं दे रहा है। ओके, आई एम यूजिंग हेडसेट। इसके बाद मैं किसी की नहीं सुनने वाली हूँ, आई एम रियली सॉरी, ठीक है, बिकॉज आई डोंट वांट टू वेस्ट टाइम विद ऑल दीज थिंग्स, ठीक है। अभी आई कैन अंडरस्टैंड बिकॉज विद हेडसेट्स आई कैन अंडरस्टैंड, इट्स मोर क्लियर, so I'm going to follow that approach, but after that I'm not going to I'm not
Listen now, ठीक है, आवाज आ रही है? I've put the handset, ठीक है। तो अब क्या है, नेक्स्ट फॉरेस्ट्री है. फॉरेस्ट्री में वी हैव टू टेक केयर ऑफ द टर्म सिल्वीकल्चर विच टॉक्स अबाउट द कल्टीवेशन ऑफ ट्रीज. हाउएवर वी हैव अ सेपरेट चैप्टर फॉर फॉरेस्ट्री एंड वी विल अंडरस्टैंड इन दैट. ठीक है. नेक्स्ट वी हैव एनिमल हस्बेंड्री. सो दिस टॉक्स विच डील्स विद द लाइफ स्टॉक. ठीक है, it deals with the livestock. अब livestock में it does not restrict itself to the cattle or buffalo. जबकि क्या डिफरेंस है कैटल बफेलो ये सब देखेंगे, बट इसके अलावा वी हैव शीप आल्सो, वी हैव गोट आल्सो, एवरीथिंग कम्स अंडर योर लाइफ स्टॉक, अंडर योर एनिमल हस्बेंड्री. ठीक है, लाइफ स्टॉक प्रोडक्शन में आ जाएगा. ठीक है. इन दिस वी विल आल्सो अंडरस्टैंड, एक पोल्ट्री भी अब ऐड हो गया. ठीक है, पोल्ट्री टॉक्स अबाउट द बर्ड्स. सो इन द एग्रीकल्चर वी आर कंज्यूमिंग बर्ड्स आल्सो, राइट, वी आर रियरिंग बर्ड्स आल्सो, तो वो आपका पोल्ट्री सेक्शन में आता है. वी विल अंडरस्टैंड इन द एनिमल हस्बेंड्री चैप्टर ओनली. एंड देन वी हैव फिशरीज. ठीक है, नाउ फिशरीज it's a broader term, and fisheries it deals with the resources that we are getting from the water body. Okay, and it also includes not only just the fish but it also includes your prawns, shrimps, ये सब भी आपके किस में आ जाते हैं, फिशरीज के अंदर. they all come under the fisheries. ठीक है. next we have agriculture engineering. now when we apply engineering in agriculture sector, it means what we are making such kind of machines which can make our work easier in agriculture, right? Starting from to prepare the seed bed for the sowing of seeds. After that, when you grow crops, right, in between also there are various intercultural operations that are required. Now if human will do that, of course human, they would have lesser power in comparison to machine, right? So they will be more time, it will be more time consuming also, and it will be more costly also, because every time you would have to give fees to the labor, right, give salary. But here it does not happen. So in agriculture engineering, it just means simply to implement engineering so that our task in agriculture, it can become easier. Okay. Next is your branch home science. Now home science, it actually deals with how to whatever nutrients and the resources that you have gotten from agriculture, ठीक है, जितना भी आपको मिला है, how to actually utilize it for the human needs, and studying about its nutritive value, and how to balance out the nutrition, and how in what proportion what things we can include in our diet which will provide with our good nutrition. ठीक है, तो home science is basically, you can say, whatever that we have gotten from the agriculture, how to actually utilize it, get benefit out of it, that is your home science. ठीक है. अब ये जो 7 subjects हैं आपके, the 7 branches, they have been now clubbed under the 3 sections. ठीक है, तो basically क्या है, क्योंकि देखो in all the 3, in agronomy, horticulture, forestry, we are looking at that there is similarity. We are cultivating crops in the field, right? So that is why they have they have been categorized under crop production. Okay. Now here we are looking at that, here we are dealing with other living organism, animals and fishes and all. Okay, biotic resources, so here they come under the animal management. And because see, here these home science and agriculture engineering are not directly dealing with rearing or cultivating something, they are adding value to what we already have in agriculture, right? That is why these two come under your allied agriculture. Allied means they are supporting agriculture. Okay, so they come under it. So in branches of agriculture, we have 3 broader classes: crop production, animal management and allied sector. Okay, and under that we have then categories. Okay, agronomy, horticulture, forestry comes under your crop production, animal husbandry and fishery under your animal management, and allied में आपका क्या आता है, agriculture engineering and home science. ठीक है, I hope it is clear till now. Now, see, because we are studying about introduction to agriculture, it is very important to understand the terms that are there in agriculture. Okay? However, the basics we will, in every chapter we are going to understand. However, there are some terminologies, right, which we need to understand, and questions have been asked in past and can be asked in future also. Okay? So in horticulture, there are in that we also have branches. Okay, so we are going to understand the names and what do they actually deal with. ठीक है, तो horticulture we have understood. ठीक है, horticulture में आपका क्या आ जाता है, vegetables आ जाती हैं. ठीक है, हमने देखा vegetables आ जाती हैं, fruits आ जाती हैं, आपकी spices आ जाती है, plantation crops आ जाती है. What are plantation crops? Plantation crops are such crops which are sown, like when you grow them once, you can get yield for many years. For example, आपका क्या हो गया, आपका कोकोनट हो गया, कोकोनट आपने एक बार लगाया and for many years you can get the yield. Similarly, कॉफी ट्री हो गया आपका, ठीक है, कोकोआ हो गया, all these are such examples, ठीक है. Now in branches of horticulture we have first one which is floriculture, ठीक है. So what is floriculture? So as you can see and you can understand, it deals with the प्रोडक्शन एंड मैनेजमेंट ऑफ व्हाट, ऑफ फ्लावर्स, ठीक है. तो जब फ्लावर्स का करते हैं वी कॉल इट फ्लोरिकल्चर. arboriculture term, it is specifically it deals with specific care of a specific tree or shrub, ठीक है. तो बेसिक क्या है कि आप किसी एक ट्री, यू आर फोकसिंग ऑन जस्ट वन पर्टिकुलर ट्री और मे बी वन पर्टिकुलर shrub, and you, what you are doing, you are cutting it down according to, you know, if there is some disease part, you are cutting it down, right, for to have it proper stature, proper structure, you are cutting down the branches, you are taking care of it. It is come under what, it comes under the arboriculture, ठीक है. नेक्स्ट इज लैंडस्केप हॉर्टिकल्चर. लैंडस्केप क्या होता है? लैंडस्केप इज बेसिकली जैसे जो ऐसा एरिया, द एरिया विच रिजेंबल्स टू द नेचुरल एनवायरमेंट, ठीक है. सो दैट इज योर लैंडस्केप. ओके, सो लैंडस्केप हॉर्टिकल्चर में you have, as you can see in the picture, ठीक है, where you imitate the natural environment, that comes under your landscape horticulture. Saurabh, there can't be a specific example of arboriculture. It means what? देखो, for example, this is my pen. Okay, I can take care of any pen, right? But if I am, what I am doing, I'm taking care of the cap properly, I have not broken it down somehow. Okay, my outer cover is all clean. This comes under or arboriculture, right? So so arboriculture, it deals with what? Management of specific any tree, any shrub, or whatever of your choice, ठीक है. So this comes under your arboriculture, ठीक है. Now जैसे देखो floriculture है. Now floriculture is general in general flower, right? So वैसे arboriculture, it deals with trees, shrubs. तो ऐसे specific तो फिर then you can give कोई भी example, but the general idea of arboriculture is this, ठीक है. Then we have landscape horticulture, ठीक है. Then we have next one which is your, in branches of horticulture we have olericulture. Now olericulture, it deals with vegetables, ठीक है. तो production and management of when we do that of vegetables, it is known as what? It is known as olericulture, ठीक है. Next we have pomology. Pomology deals with the fruits, ठीक है. तो अब what we are doing, we are covering the branches of horticulture. In that we have understood the different types, ठीक है. We started off with floriculture, deals with flowers. So what does it mean? Flowers also comes under horticulture, right? We studied arboriculture, landscape horticulture, ठीक है. तो landscape horticulture में भी you can give example of any ornamental flower or any ornamental plant, such plant which is, you know, just there for the sake of show. Okay, such can be examples, ठीक है. Olericulture, it deals with the cultivation of vegetables. Pomology deals with fruits, and then we have viticulture, ठीक है. Viticulture भी specifically यूज फॉर द कल्टिवेशन ऑफ ग्रेप्स, ठीक है. अब देखो, ये भी वैसे फ्रूट्स का ही पार्ट है, राइट? बट व्हाट हैपेंस फॉर, यू नो, ग्रेप्स आर प्रीटी मच widely cultivated for wine making, right? So therefore special focus is being given on grapes, so that, you know, when the quality of grapes will be good, so of course that of wine will also be good, right? So that is why in viticulture we have a specific branch for which deals with the cultivation of grapes, and it is known as what? It is known as the viticulture, ठीक है, grapes के लिए. Now we have enology. अब enology, you can say it deals with wine and wine making. Now here you have to understand the difference, ठीक है. First difference is what? First difference is this, that viticulture deals with till the time grapes are ready to harvest, ठीक है. मतलब कि पहले का stage, how grapes are growing, that is viticulture. Now if afterwards those grapes are being used for making wine, so it's not like that, no, today you'll just keep grapes like that and next day it will turn out to be wine. No, there is a procedure that goes on, right? So that procedure comes under enology. So enology, it deals with what? It deals with wine and wine making. And another thing that you have to keep in mind is that this wine only, it is not made up of grapes, right? From other fruit vegetables also grape is being made, right? So that is why जो आपका wine and wine making में, it is first of all not restricted just to grapes, it includes other such crops also, right? And I hope you don't get confused between viticulture and enology. If there is any confusion, please let me know. Next, we have one more post-harvest management. Now, post-harvest management is basically, you can understand that it's not like that you just harvest something from field and you just directly send to the consumer. No, there are various goes on where you clean the crops, right? After that, what you do, you sort them, you grade them according to their shapes and size, which will fetch you more money accordingly, right? And there are various other processes happen, grading, then we have labeling, right? Other things happen. All these things come under your post-harvest management, right? In post-harvest means once you have done harvesting. What is harvesting? That is your cutting down of crops, okay? And then that is your harvesting, and whatever the procedure that happens after that, it is post harvest management. Ashwar is asking the difference between post harvest management and home science. Okay, देखो home science, for example, if I'm dealing with that this particular, for example, from apple you're getting this percent of nutrition, and from any other crop you're getting this much nutrition, so this comes under your home science. The science which deals with nutrient availability of the crops and how much consumption of them should be done, all these will come under home science. Okay. Enology can't be called post-harvest management of grapes, because post-harvest management would have been if there would be proper washing of grapes, right? And whatever be the grading and all that sort packing would have been done. The end result to customer, if were the grapes only, then it would have been post-harvest management. But here the end result is not grapes, it is your wine. That is why it cannot come under your post-harvest management of grapes. Okay, I hope you all understand. Agar koi confusion hai, please ask me. Okay. Next, we have the term that we have to understand, and that is about an organization, the apex autonomous body of agriculture that we have in India. It is our ICAR, Indian Council of Agriculture Research. Okay, your ICAR, it was established on 16th of July 2019. Okay, so basically what happened during that time, we were under British rule, right? So British, it's not like that they wanted to upgrade agriculture in India, but yes, they wanted to do a research on agriculture in India so that they can exploit us. So for the same reason, what they made a royal commission who will do the research, and they will give a solution so that especially for indigo and spices, the British they can exploit us. Okay. So this royal commission then submitted its report, and they said that there should be any a particular institute that should be set up which will focus on agriculture in India. Okay. So with that aim, initially when ICR was launched, it was named Imperial Council of Agriculture Research on 16th of July 1929. Okay. Now what happened when we got independence? So of course the leaders, they decided to change this name Imperial. Okay. So after independence, Imperial name was, afterwards it changed into the name Indian. Okay. अब काम क्या है? What is the role of ICAR? ठीक है. So ICAR, it comes under your Ministry of Agriculture and under the Department of Agriculture Research and Education. So what does it mean? ICAR, it focuses on, first of all, guiding people, right? Guiding people, doing research, coordinating among the farmers also, and among the research that is going on also, and then managing also such researches, and whatever result that we are getting, it is finally being implemented on the field so that the agriculture in India can grow and even the farmers can get benefit. ठीक है. तो ICR का काम क्या है? To coordinate, guide and manage research and education, to impart education also. And for that purpose, what ICR has done, it has made its proper research system. So ICR, you have understood, this is the apex body which talks about, which deals with the research and education in agriculture sector. This we have understood, right? But of course it cannot do alone, right? There has to be various different researches that needs to be done, that could be specific to a particular state, that could be specific to a particular region, that could be in general from the subcontinent, Indian subcontinent point of view, right? So that is why what they have done to simplify this and have better coordination, what ICAR has done, they have made this National Agriculture Research System. Okay, so they have created the system where the ICAR, what they did, they have ICR, they, along with the other research institute and national research centers that was set up by ICAR, okay, they they included everything and they made this national research agriculture research system. Okay, now this includes, when we said other research institutes and all these education center, we mean all the deemed universities that come under NARS, under ICR, I'm sorry. Okay, there are various agriculture, horticulture, veterinary institutions that come under it. National research center hai, all India coordinated research project hai, and these are specific to a particular area. Okay, and similarly हमारे networks हैं, ठीक है, network areas हैं, we have national bureaus, project directorates हैं. Now in your summary sheet you will see in detailed there are a list of name given. ठीक है, in that I want to highlight two things. First of all, and which mostly very the aspirants what they do, they they have this query, how many deemed university we have to memorize that, how many national research institute we have to memorize that, how many universities are there, all these things they do, how many colleges are there. First of all, those are not necessary at all, because you yourself can understand this this modification, the addition of more institute, it keeps on happening, right? So it's a very dynamic data, never have been asked in examination, and such cannot be asked in examination. Okay, rest apart, now if you observe the previous year question paper, you will find that sometime they have mentioned an institute and they have asked that it is situated in which region. Okay, so now question like such come, right? But for that, are you going to memorize these hundreds of the institutes and the place where they are situated at? If you have already done, well and good, but if you have not at this moment, it is not the right thing to do, right? What should be the approach then? What if the question is asked from it, right? So in that case, see, usually the questions are framed when that particular institute will be in news. Okay, so you all have EduTap with you all. Okay, all of you have EduTap. Okay, in that you just cover the news normally. Okay, if any new development has been done and it has been done by any particular university or any institution that comes under ICAR, you will observe that below the news we have mentioned where is the headquarter of that particular institute as well. So you need not to worry if the question is made, and always it's like for any examination, whenever the question is made on such question in such type, those are made from your current agriculture development only. So you don't have to mug up all 150 or even more the numbers that you have in your summary sheet. ठीक है, तो ये चीज को इतना holistically cover ऐसे मत करना. EduTap में you have to keep in mind. ठीक है, now there are some agriculture revolutions also. Now what are revolutions? So basically when focus on a particular sector is being done and there new advancements are made, and because of those advancements and new technology that has been added in that particular sector, we see a boost in that. That is known as what? That is known as a revolution. So what happened in agriculture, if you go in back history, right? So in the world, ठीक है, first of all it was Norman E. Borlaug. ठीक है, तो आपके Norman E. Borlaug है, he is known as the father of green revolution in the world. ठीक है, and why so? Because he came up with a robust he identified a robust strain of wheat, and he made a variety which gave very good exponential wheat growth. ठीक है, उसका wheat yield काफी अच्छा हुआ था. And another reason, because he came up with some cultivation practices which are actually beneficial. So that is why reason Norman E. Borlaug तो world में जाने जाते हैं. India में अगर हम we talk about the first revolution that came when the first time we focused, first agriculture revolution I want to highlight. ठीक है, so when first time we focused on agriculture and first we focused on a grains, food grain production में हमने ध्यान दिया था. Why? Because during that time we did not even have so much growth that we can fulfill our needs, so we had to export, we have to import them. Okay, so that is why to have self sufficiency, government they focused on the grains, and that is how green revolution was first originated. Okay, तो आपका जो green revolution है it focuses on food grains. ठीक है, and during that time only जो आपका MSP का concept है वो लाया गया था, so that people they have this they have this assurance with them that if they grow food grains which they did not used to do before, if they grow fruit grains, if nobody buys, at least government is there to buy them. ठीक है, तो MSP का concept भी वहीं से आया था. Green revolution is related to food grains. India में देखे तो MS स्वामीनाथन is the person who is considered to be the father of green revolution in India. ठीक है, जिन्होंने इसमें focus किया था. There are some other important revolution also, right? For example, we have red revolution. ठीक है, so usually the name, if you would see, these are somewhere related to, you know, how they physically look, the particular product or item. ठीक है, अब red revolution, it is related to wheat, meat also, and tomato. Please, you have to keep in mind that separately, these like separately. When for tomato we came up with a revolution, we called it red revolution. Similarly, for separately, when we came up with the meat, for the good quality of meat, right, for that we also came up with the red revolution. Okay, then we have round revolution. So as potato, you can see they are round in nature, so that is why round revolution name has been provided. Okay, next we have gray revolution. So gray revolution, it is associated with the fertilizer. Okay, so application of fertilizer, it comes on, it is under your gray revolution. Next revolution, what do we have? Yellow revolution. So as you can imagine it like that, usually oils, they are what? They are yellowish in nature, right? So yellow revolution, it is associated with what? Yellow revolution, it is associated with your oil seeds. What are oil seeds? These are such crops that we have from which oil is extracted, right? So your castor oil, sunflower oil, ठीक है, ये सब आपके किस में आते हैं? ये सब आपके examples हैं oil seeds के, ठीक है. Next we have milk revolution, white revolution, which is associated with milk, because milk, it is white in color, that is why white revolution. ठीक है, it is also known as operation flood. ठीक है, इसको operation flood के नाम से भी जाना गया था उस टाइम में. ठीक है, then we have next sort of revolution, for related to aquaculture, is blue revolution. How you can memorize? Easy to remember. Water is like, usually it's blue, it seems blue, right? So that is why blue revolution, it is related to what? It is related to your aquaculture. Okay, next we have brown revolution. So brown revolution, you have to add, okay, that is of the brown revolution, it is associated with coffee and cocoa, and as you can see in the picture, because they are brownish in color, that is why they are associated with it. Leather का भी जो revolution हुआ था, leather का भी revolution, it is related to what? It is related to your brown revolution only. ठीक है, तो leather भी associated है with your brown revolution. Next is your golden fiber revolution. ठीक है, so I have added the pictures for better clarity. As you can see the jute, this is your jute. Okay, now here you can look at that the fiber that has been that has been extracted after a procedure that goes on. So in that you can see this seems goldenish in color, right? So that is why the name that has been given is golden fiber revolution. So when it is asked that the revolution which is associated with jute, it is your golden fiber revolution. Okay, next, this is the recent the most latest one. We have the revolution in agriculture in India. This talks about the protein revolution. And protein revolution, as you can see, we get protein from what? We get naturally in agriculture, like if we just focus on crops, we get protein from pulses, right? So that is why your protein revolution, it is associated with pulses. Okay, next we have pink revolution. देखो, pink revolution, again you have to look at the picture and understand. Okay, pink revolution, onion, because it looks pink, right? So that is why it is pink revolution is onion is also associated with pink revolution, and another is also prawn, which is associated with pink revolution. ठीक है, यहाँ पे here I also want to add about the meat industry. Okay, see, till the time, again it is somewhat similar to what we have understood for viticulture and enology wala case na. Till the time when grapes are being cultivated, it was called viticulture, right? But after that, if it is being used in winemaking, it came under enology, right? Similarly, till the time we are focusing on increasing the quality of meat, till the time, okay, it is known as what? It is known as your रेड रेवोल्यूशन. ठीक है, मीट का क्वालिटी अच्छा करने के लिए. बट आफ्टर दैट व्हेन इट इज सेंट फॉर फर्दर प्रोसेसिंग, देन इन द मीट इंडस्ट्री, लाइक वट एवर प्रोसेसिंग दैट हैपेंस, देन इट इज नोन एज व्हाट? इट इज नोन एज पिंक रेवोल्यूशन. ठीक है, तो जब तक मीट बना तब तक रेड रेवोल्यूशन. आफ्टर दैट पिंक रेवोल्यूशन इज एसोसिएटेड विद व्हाट? पिंक रेवोल्यूशन, इट इज एसोसिएटेड विद मीट इंडस्ट्री. ठीक है, so I hope you get the difference and the clarity. If it is not, please let me know. ठीक है, next we have golden revolution. Now golden revolution, it is associated with your fruit specifically also, honey specifically also, and horticulture also. ठीक है, अब देखो कुछ चीजें differentiate करनी है. ठीक है, golden revolution and golden fiber, please keep in mind when fiber has been added, it is associated with jute. However, golden revolution, it is related with your horticulture crops. For specific fruits also we can say, and honey also. ठीक है, honey को there is a new sweet revolution also you must have heard of. ठीक है, तो अगर sweet honey से regarding पूछ लिया, the answer can be sweet revolution also, answer can be golden revolution also. ठीक है, now there are two questions that are there. Vineet is asking that do you have to memorize fathers? Yes, see, the fathers which have been mentioned, which are, you know, widely it's been present in different sources, it is important to remember the fathers of revolution, especially, and well, it is important to remember all, but especially that of we have of the green revolution, white revolution. ठीक है, इनका स्पेसिफिकली करना है. ठीक है, देन Ash is asking can you repeat with respect to meat? देखो, meat basically till the time you are rearing a particular animal, any livestock for its meat, so till the time you are providing it good nutrition so that the quality of meat it is at its to its best, it is known as what, it will come under your red revolution, क्योंकि meat की quality अच्छी करनी है. ठीक है, but after that again you can't just, you know, make a particular goat very good with nutritious quality and then you just sell it to the consumer. No, there's a process that happens, right? So jo meat industry, after that, once that is done, like you have focused and you have improved the quality of meat, after that whatever be the meat industry processes that happens, the processes that happens in meat industry, that will come under what, that will come under your pink revolution. ठीक है, तो pink revolution, all in all, it is associated with your onion, it is associated with your prawn as well, and you can use the term pink revolution for the meat industry as well. Okay, now there, see, these were some of the most important agriculture revolutions that have been added, right? But if you will look in your summary sheet, you will find one or two more. ठीक है, एक दो ज्यादा मिलेगा. Along with that, you would have the names, as Vineet has asked, you will find the names of the fathers of those revolutions. ठीक है, तो you have to do them as well. अब जैसे देखो इसमें क्या छूट गया, for example देखो आपका silver revolution है, silver revolution, it is associated with your X. ठीक है, there you have mother, you don't have father of revolution, you have mother of revolution who is Indira Gandhi. ठीक है, तो ये कुछ कुछ है आपके बेसिक्स हैं. ठीक है, you can find it in your summary sheet also. ठीक है, there you can watch it. ठीक है, next we have fathers of various disciplines. देखो, these are not the fathers of various revolutions. ठीक है, these are fathers of various disciplines. ठीक है, disciplines का मतलब क्या है? देखो, in agriculture we have of course we have different components under it, right? So whoever who first gave the best contribution in that particular sector, that comes under those will become the father of various discipline. ठीक है, अब इसमें भी I have some examples that are given. For example, the most important ones I have added, right? For example, Pietro de Crescenzi, he is known as father of agronomy. ठीक है, father of agronomy कौन है आपके? Pietro de Crescenzi कहलाते हैं. ठीक है, then we have Stephen Hales, he is known as father of plant physiology, and it has been asked in one of your previous year question also, and that is why the fathers of various disciplines have been added in the course. ठीक है, आपका previous year का आपका ये question है. Then we have father of genetics, Gregor John Mendel, GJ Mendel. ठीक है, ये school time से we have been taught, right? Then we have green revolution. तो यहाँ पे Dr. Norman E. Borlaug, like you can see him. We basically know, right, about MS Swaminathan and Borlaug, but many of you don't haven't seen them, right? So here we have added some pictures. ठीक है, green revolution, father of green revolution in India. C.T. Patel, he is known as he's the one who had developed a cotton hybrid. ठीक है, then we have for example for golden rice, so Mr. Ingo was the ones who developed the golden rice. ठीक है, it means it had more nutrients basically. ठीक है, Hugo de Very's mutation theory was given by him. Hybrid rice was developed by Yuan Long Ping. ठीक है, then we have Louis Pasteur, ठीक है, आपके father of microbiology. ठीक है, and yeah, then we have Varghese Kurin, Dr. Varghese Kurin, who is responsible for the white revolution in India. ठीक है, revolution linked with meat industry, pink revolution with meat. Yes, Amisha, correct. Okay, here also I'll look at मैंने कभी NABARD का form okay, YouTube India, we are coming up with 3 lectures. ठीक है, so yeah, so this is the second day and tomorrow will be third day. And for fees and everything, you can contact in the number which you are looking on the screen. Okay, they will help you in a better way. Now, अब देखो ये second चीज कर ली. अब next we have to understand about some important days, right? Some important days has been assigned for awareness. Basically देखो days की होते हैं. कभी भी कोई celebration होता है, we assign a particular day to create the awareness regarding it. ठीक है? So for that in agriculture we have some important days that we have attached. ठीक है? In your examination, previous examinations, questions have been asked, and that is why it has been added. ठीक है? I'll just answer you, Priya. Let me just complete it. ठीक है? So 10th of February, it is celebrated as World Pulses Day. So देखो why you should remember this, because we know pulses revolution is also going on. ठीक है? Protein revolution चल रहा है. So it's an important concept because currently we are focusing on protein revolution. Okay, and it is celebrated on 10th of February. That is why it will become important. ठीक है? Then we have International Day of Forest. ठीक है? It is celebrated on 21st March. World Water Day 22nd March को होता है. World Earth Day, it is common. ठीक है? Earth Day, Environment Day, ये तो बचपन से कर रहे हैं. ठीक है? 2nd of April we have. Then World Milk Day. देखो कुछ कुछ तो important है. Like among these also, like these are the most important ones, but in these also we have the most important ones, right? For example, Pulses Day, it is the most important one. I am assuming that Earth Day and Environment Day is something which you must know, right? Then we have World Milk Day, it is important, right? Then we have Coconut Day also, okay, which is celebrated on 2nd of September. Okay, now on 15th of October next month we are going to have International Day of Rural Women. World Food Day is celebrated on 16th October. You can memorize, like women are the one who cook food usually, right? So World Food Day is just after we are celebrating them. ठीक है? National Milk Day. So if you are memorizing the International World Milk Day, which is on 1st June, it is important to know that in India when it is being celebrated, right? So in India, it is celebrated on 26th of November. Then these are the three ones. Here, the questions have been asked from where actually the questions have been asked. So if you're thinking that you have to remove, like you can ignore these, like who it is the anniversary of which minister that we had. So that's not right, because questions have been from here only. ठीक है? 3rd December, it is celebrated as National Agriculture Education Day. And why National Agriculture Education Day? To commemorate our birth anniversary of our first agriculture minister, who was Mr. Rajendra Prasad. ठीक है? Then 5th of December is celebrated as World Soil Day, and 23rd of December is celebrated as National Farmers Day. You should know when National Farmers Day or Kisan Divas is celebrated, right? And why? To commemorate the birth anniversary of Chaudhary Charan Singh. ठीक है? So yeah, here we are. Priya, landscape management, it basically, you had a barren land. There you decided to make it more, like natural in nature. For example, garden, parks होते हैं ना. Park is an example जो आपके parks होते हैं in your colonies and everything. Those are example of your landscape management only. ठीक है? So whenever you try to mimic to the natural environment, how you can do so and make it aesthetic to eyes, aesthetic and eye pleasing. ठीक है? That is known as what? That is known as your landscape management in simple language. ठीक है? Yes, Shweta, these are all present in the sheet. Yes, as silviculture is part of forestry. Okay? In forestry, when we will study, we will look at that there are other other components also. So silviculture, it is part of forestry. You cannot, forestry is equal to not silviculture. It's not equal to silviculture. Silviculture is part of forestry, which focuses specifically on the cultivation and management of the trees. Okay? So this is about the word days. ठीक है? अब देखो, अब ये ऐसे ये आपके इंट्रोडक्शन के अंदर ही आते हैं. ठीक है? Famous, there are some famous names that have been given to certain crops. What we have done, वैसे this is part of your agronomy, ये थोड़ा आगे ऐड हो गया. ठीक है? So what we have done, we have made two lists. One is in agronomy, we have one in plantation and horticulture. In horticulture we have. ठीक है? So ये थोड़ा आगे ऐड हो गया, तो let's just understand here only. So there are some famous name that has been given to agronomic field crops. Now I hope you will understand that in agronomy field crops comes. ठीक है? And these all are example of that. So usually in basic language, if you would say, all your cereals and legumes, they come under the field crop only. ठीक है? King of cereal किसको बोलते हैं? Wheat को बोलते हैं. Queen of cereal क्या होती है? आपकी maize होती है. King of coarse cereal कौन होता है? आपके sorghum होते हैं. Then we have camel crop, sorghum. Why camel crop? Because they don't require like much water. ठीक है? King of pulses is known as chickpea. Then we have queen of pulses is your pea. ठीक है? Then king of oil seed. These are the categories ठीक है, which we will understand. So under what happens under agronomy also, no, based on we have different classification, ठीक है. तो we have in that we have cereals, we have pulses, we have oil seeds, we have fodder crops, ठीक है. तो इसको और अच्छे से हम समझ लेंगे अभी थोड़े आगे. King of weeds, what are weeds? Weeds are your unwanted plant, ठीक है. Unwanted plant that grows in your field, that is known as your weed, ठीक है. Congress grass is known as king of weed. King of fodder crops, what is fodder crop? The crop that are being planted for as a food for livestock is known as what? It is known as your fodder crop, ठीक है. King of fodder crop कौन है आपका? बरसीम है. Queen of fodder crop is what? Food for livestock, it is your leucerine. Then famine reserves are millets. Famine reserves means देखो, millets are such crops which require minimal amount of water, minimal amount of nutrients, minimal amount of care to grow, and the product that they give us, the grains that they give us, those are highly nutritious, right? That is why those known as famine reserves. Even in such condition when nothing can be grown, you can still grow millet, and you can survive and you can thrive. Like nutritional value भी इसकी काफी high होती है. White gold of America किसको बोलते हैं? We call it cotton. Then we have some other name also, thorny oilseed crops, such oilseed crop which has thorns, right, जिसमें कांटे होते हैं, ठीक है. And that is your safflower. And because of this reason also, because देखो safflowers में they have thorns, no, they can be used to protect your main field from entering of the animals. You can use these crops, the safflowers, as border crops, right, so that animals won't enter and they would destroy your crops that you have sown, ठीक है. Vegetable meat is known as cowpea is called vegetables meat because it provides you with good amount of protein, that is why it's called meat, ठीक है. Poor's man meat is soya bean, ठीक है. Then we have poor's man substitute of ghee, ठीक है, sesame, ठीक है. Then we have poor man's food, pearl millet. क्यों poor man then again, and why food? Because pearl millet again it is your millet, ठीक है. Just we have understood that they require minimum inputs and they provide with good output, ठीक है, इसलिए उसको poor's man food बोलते हैं. Soya bean, wonder crop. Then we have yellow jewel of America is known as soybean. Drosophila of plant crop. देखो Drosophila, it is basically a fly. And why is it very famous in science or among the scientists? Because it has a lot of genetic variation. And because the maize, basically your corn जो है, because it also have the various genetic combinations we can find in crop as well, and that is why it is known as Drosophila of crop plant, ठीक है. देन देखो अमेरिका वाला तो बेसिकली इतना, ये जितना अमेरिका रिलेटेड है ना, उसको इतना रिलीजियसली याद करने का जरूरत है नहीं. हाउएवर दीज आर फेमस टर्म्स दैट हैव बीन एडेड, बट यू कैन अंडरस्टैंड इफ वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट इंडियन एग्रीकल्चर एंड इंडियन कॉम्पिटेटिव एग्जामिनेशन, रेयर चांसेस ऑफ दीज बीइंग आस्क्ड इन एग्जामिनेशन, ठीक है. बैकबोन ऑफ अमेरिका क्या है आपका? मेज है. देन वी हैव कोर्स सेट ऑफ कोर्स मिलेट, मींस इन योर कोर्स मिलेट आपका जैसा, ठीक है, कोर्स ग्रेन उसको बोलते हैं, ठीक है. उसमें भी जो सबसे ज्यादा कोर्स होगा उसको कोडो, वो कोडो है, ठीक है. कोडो इज अ टाइप ऑफ मिलेट, सो इट इज कोडो मिलेट. देन वी हैव स्मॉल होल्डर्स इरिगेटेड क्रॉप, ऑयल पाम एंड गोल्डन फाइबर किसको बोलते हैं? जूट को बोलते हैं. एंड दैट इज वाई गोल्डन फाइबर रेवोल्यूशन इज एसोसिएटेड विद योर जूट, ठीक है. अब देयर सो मेनी क्वेश्चंस, लेट मी जस्ट रीड इट, ठीक है. रिकॉर्डेड लेक्चर कब आएगा सार्थक? दैट विल कम इन 24 आवर टाइम स्पैन. ठीक है. देखो रोहित, कोर्स बेसिकली मोटा अनाज होता है, ठीक है. मोटा अनाज को कोर्स ग्रेन बोलते हैं. अब इस मोटा अनाज में भी जो सबसे ज्यादा कोर्स होगा तो कोर्सेस्ट ऑफ द कोर्स, ठीक है. रोहित, आई होप यू अंडरस्टैंड, अगर नहीं है तो बताना, ठीक है. एंड हियर these organelles structure and function, this is also related to your agronomy chapter only, ठीक है. So here it will be like these are the organelles. What is organelle? So see, we know that we are made up of cell. Similarly, plants are also made up of cell, and under plants there are different organelles which perform different function, ठीक है. Last year there have been questions from the organelles, and that is why it is, you know, you will be on the safer side if you will remember them, ठीक है. न्यूक्लियस जो होता है, न्यूक्लियस का फंक्शन क्या है आपका? जो जितना भी आपका जेनेटिक मटेरियल है, द डिवीजन दैट हैपेंस ऑफ क्रोमोसोम एंड एवरीथिंग दैट हैपेंस अंडर अंडर द न्यूक्लियस ओनली, ठीक है। तो न्यूक्लियस इज रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर कंट्रोलिंग द एक्टिविटी ऑफ सेल, व्हाई, बिकॉज सेल डिवीजन जो होता है, जो क्रोमोसोम्स जो प्रेजेंट होता है, दे आर प्रेजेंट सेल के अंदर, क्या होता है, न्यूक्लियस होता है, उसमें प्रेजेंट होता है। एंडोप्लाज्मिक रेटिकुलम्स आर बेसिकली दीज आर लाइक योर पाइप्स, ठीक है, ट्यूब्स होती है, पाइप्स होती है। एंड देखो ये ऑर्गेनेलीज है, एवरीबडी हैव अ फंक्शन, ठीक है। फॉर एग्जांपल राइबोसोम का क्या फंक्शन है, राइबोसोम का फंक्शन है टू सिंथेसाइज प्रोटीन, right? Now if this is a cell, if you look on the screen, and here is ribosome, right? And here from this to this part, this synthesis of protein which has been made, now it has to be transferred. How will it be done? It will be done through some channels, through some tubes, right? So these are your endoplasmic reticulum which actually transport the within the cell, they do the transportation, ठीक है, तो they act as a pipeline, ठीक है। Then we have ribosome, ribosome का we have understood it is what it is, it helps in your protein synthesis, ठीक है। गोल्गी बॉडी से आपके क्या होता है, कुछ आपके ये लिपिड्स होते हैं ना, बेसिकली जो फैट्स और लिपिड होते हैं, ठीक है, उनका ये सिंथेसिस करता है। माइटोकॉन्ड्रिया होता है, ये क्या होता है, इट इज नोन एज पावर हाउस ऑफ द सेल, ठीक है, हमेशा से करते हैं। एंड इट फॉर्म एनर्जी, ठीक है, एनर्जी क्रिएट करता है। वैक्यूल क्या होता है, वैक्यूल आर बेसिकली सच ऑर्गेनेलीज विच आर इनसाइड अ प्लांट विच होल्ड्स वाटर, ठीक है, वो पानी का रखने का काम करते हैं, ठीक है, सेल सैप का काम करता है। एंड इन वैक्यूल्स इफ यू कंपेयर इन प्लांट्स, इट आर वेरी मच बिगर, बिकॉज जो उनका वाटर रिटेंशन है वो काफी ज्यादा होता है, ठीक है। अब इसमें प्लास्टिड है, वी हैव प्लास्टिड। देखो व्हाट आई वुड रिकमेंड व्हाट टू डू इन दिस पर्टिकुलर स्लाइड, आई विल जस्ट टेल यू दैट, ठीक है। स्ट्रक्चर वाइज आई वुड रिकमेंड ओनली रिमेंबर जिसके आगे डबल मेम्ब्रेन होगा, ठीक है। देखो यूजुअली जो आपकी सेल ऑर्गेनेलीज होती है ना, दे आर सिंगल मेम्ब्रेन ओनली, ठीक है। बट वी हैव एक्सेप्शन, वी हैव माइटोकॉन्ड्रिया एंड प्लास्टिड इन केस ऑफ प्लांट्स विच आर व्हाट, विच आर डबल मेम्ब्रेन, ठीक है। So from the structure perspective, it will be better if you just remember the double membrane are examples are your mitochondria and plastids, ठीक है। And the functions is something which you actually have to read a little bit कि किसका क्या function है, ठीक है। अब centrioles है, these are not present in your plant cell. So you need not to remember. If the question comes that which of the following organelle it is not present in plant, so you should remember centriole is the one which is present in animal cell but it is not present in plant cell. Similarly, plastid is the one which is present just in plant, it is not present in animal, ठीक है। तो हमने क्या समझा, बाकी सारी all the organelles except for centrioles, it is not like centriole, it is not present in plant, बाकी सारी जितनी mentioned है वो होती है। एनिमल में एक्चुअली दो प्रेजेंट नहीं होती इनमें से, ठीक है। एक तो ऑर्गेनली प्रेजेंट नहीं होती विच इज योर प्लास्टिड, इट इज नॉट प्रेजेंट, ठीक है। अनदर इज योर सेल वॉल, सेल वॉल इट इज एब्सेंट इन एनिमल सेल, सेल वॉल आपकी सिर्फ प्लांट सेल में प्रेजेंट होती है। एंड बेसिकली बिकॉज सी देखो ये जो प्लांट्स होती है ना, दे लिव इन रफ कंडीशन, रफ एनवायरमेंटल कंडीशंस, राइट। सो दे नीड अ प्रोटेक्शन, तो सेल की प्रोटेक्शन के लिए सेल वॉल बना हुआ होता है विच इज मेड अप ऑफ सेलुलोज, ठीक है। सेल वॉल किससे बनी हुई होती है, सेलुलोज से बनी हुई होती है, ठीक है। देन सेल मेम्ब्रेन बिकॉज सेल का एक कवरिंग भी होगी ना, जो ये इंटैक्टमेंट है ना, जो लाइन है जिसने अंदर सारी चीजें रखी हुई है सेल की, दिस इज योर सेल मेम्ब्रेन। यू हैव टू कीप इन माइंड इट इज सेमी परमिएबल, सेमी परमिएबल मींस इट डज नॉट अलाउ एवरीथिंग टू कम इनसाइड एंड एवरीथिंग टू गो आउटसाइड, इट इज सेलेक्टिवली परमिएबल, अलाउ ओनली सम मटेरियल टू कम इनसाइड एंड गो आउट, ठीक है, इसलिए इसको सेमी परमिएबल बोलते हैं। न्यूक्लियर मेम्ब्रेन, एज वी हैव अंडरस्टूड दैट अंडर अ सेल देयर इज अ न्यूक्लियस, राइट। सो उसकी भी एक कवरिंग होगी, सो द कवरिंग इज नोन एज व्हाट, इट इज नोन एज न्यूक्लियस मेम्ब्रेन। एंड लाइसोसोम क्या होता है, देखो लाइसोसोम बेसिकली दीज आर नोन एज सुसाइड बैग ऑफ योर सुसाइड ऑर्गेनेली या सुसाइड बैग ऑफ योर सेल होते हैं, ठीक है। सो व्हेनेवर इट हैपेंस, इफ इनसाइड सम फॉरेन मटेरियल has entered, like for example any virus has entered or anything, right, or maybe the cell in itself it is started to degenerate or maybe showing some unusual activity, in such case what happens, this lysosome it just burst itself, right, and if some virus is there, the virus will get killed, and if the even the cell is it has to be now removed, so वो cell भी मर जाएगा, ठीक है। sucker, forage crop, fodder crop, it is a part of forest crop, I'll just let you know, ठीक है, agronomy chapter में, ठीक है। So by that we have done first chapter. If you have any confusion, please let me know, I'll clear, otherwise we are moving ahead to the next chapter which is our agronomy. Kundan, if asked about meat, just meat, in that case please select red revolution, ठीक है। if they mention you meat industry, in that case go for pink revolution, ठीक है। What is present in only animal cell? सेंट्रियोल, जो आपका सेंट्रियोल होता है ना, ये जो सेंट्रियोल है, सेंट्रियोल यहाँ पे लिखा हुआ भी है, ठीक है, प्रेजेंट ओनली इन एनिमल सेल्स, ठीक है, सिर्फ एनिमल सेल में होता है. प्लास्टिड इज प्रेजेंट ओनली इन प्लांट सेल. तो ये डिफरेंस है. सेल वॉल तो सिर्फ प्लांट्स में ही होगा, एनिमल्स में नहीं होता, ठीक है. What is the difference between, Mansi is asking difference between cell wall and cell membrane. ठीक है, देखो ये आपका सेल है, ये आपका जैसे प्लांट है, ठीक है, प्लांट का सेल है, ठीक है. दिस इज योर मेम्ब्रेन, ठीक है. इसकी भी एक आउटर कवरिंग है, अ टफ कवरिंग ऑफ सेलुलोज टू प्रोटेक्ट the cell as a whole. This outer protective covering is known as what? It is known as your cell wall. ठीक है. In plants, in animal case what happens? This is the cell. ठीक है. So this is cell membrane in cell case. This is your cell membrane in plants case. But in animals we don't have a covering. We don't have a tough covering to protect the cell. ठीक है. Because it is believed humans or any animal, they can move whenever in danger, they can move from one place to another, right? So wear and tear of these cells and rupturing is very comparatively lesser, it happens in animals than in the case of plants, and that is why in case of plants we have cell wall that is present. ठीक है. We will get this PPT. Yes, Vaibhav, you are going to get this PPT as well. Yes, Priya. Nihal, no, I would say just understand their function. Like you need not to remember the names by heart, but just understand their functions. What do they do? Karthik, if you are a UPSC aspirant, I think, yes, of course, see, anybody can do that. Even if you're not an UPSC aspirant, if you are a UPSC aspirant, it does not have to, have to link anything to NABARD, right? No, Ash, this is more than enough. Okay. Right. So let's start off with agronomy. ठीक है. ठीक है. Now let's come to agronomy, and देखो basic we have already understood, right? Agronomy, if I'll tell you again, it derives from a Greek word, and what were the two Greek words? Those were agros and we had nomos. ठीक है. Agros, it means what? It means your field, and nomos, it means what? It means your to management. ठीक है. To manage that particular field. ठीक है. So in agronomy we are talking about, if we go for definition wise, basically agronomy, it is known as what? Agronomy, it is the agriculture science which deals with the principles and practices of crop production, where we are focusing on creating such principles and following such practices which will improve our crop production and which will also helps in field management. ठीक है. तो basically आपको definition wise जाए, what is your agronomy? It is a branch of agriculture sciences which deals with principles. We have to make such principles and do the practices which will improve our crop production and also manage our field. Manage our field, what does it mean? It means that your field quality should not deteriorate in the search of having much production. ठीक है. Father, we have already understood. Father is your Peto de Crescenzi. He is known as the father of agriculture. ठीक है. अब classification of crop. देखो अगर हम crop देखें ना, what is a crop? So basically, whenever you cultivate whenever you do plant production, ठीक है, in the large field, we call it to be a crop. ठीक है. जब भी कोई आप plant cultivation करते हो कोई बड़े से फील्ड में, उसको हम क्या बोलते हैं? उसको उस प्लांट को हम क्या बोलते हैं? हम क्रॉप बोलते हैं. ठीक है. अब हम क्लासिफाई कर सकते हैं क्रॉप को 3 बेसिस में. ठीक है. हम क्रॉप कर सकते हैं गार्डन बेसिस में. ठीक है. एक हम कर सकते हैं फील्ड में जो ग्रो होती है. ठीक है. एक और करते हैं हम प्लांटेशन. ठीक है. So we have already understood that how this garden we do it in the small area only, and how the hottest term, garden term, it came into existence, right? तो garden में आपकी जितनी vegetables, fruits, flowers, ये सब आपके garden के अंदर आ जाती हैं. ठीक है. Then comes your field. Like for example, even if you want to take an example, you can take of your home also. For example, you have a small place where you can cultivate some crops, right? It's a very small place, right? So would you better choose to grow vegetables over there, or would you grow wheat or any pulses over there, right? You would prefer vegetable because you're going to get more output, right? And for having the cereals and legumes, so you should require big fields, right? So that will come under your field crops. ठीक है, तो आपके field crop में अंदर आती है. Third, we have that of plantation. Now plantation we have already understood कि जो आपका एक बार आपने plant कर दिया, and after that you can have the harvest multiple times. ठीक है. अब in agronomy, now you have to understand that this classification that we have done, these we have done of crops, not that of agronomy, right? So crops, there are of three types: garden, field, and plantation. Our focus under agronomy will be of the field crops, right? And why this particular field or branch was required, and why is it important? See, you can understand that we have to study for the crop, we have to study about the crops as well, right? If we know what is the nature of a crop, what are the requirements of it, right? Of course we are going to provide input to them accordingly. If we know what is the stimulation it requires, how much sunlight does it need, for how much duration does it need, how much water is it required, at what stage it is required, right? All these things will help to improve the quality of food also, as well as the quantity of food as well. ठीक है, तो crop production is one of the sincere concern under agronomy. Along with that, we have to study about the soil environment also, right? If we don't know that which nutrients are present in soil, for example, you are growing any crop and there are lack of nutrients in the soil, right? Of course you are not going to get the good result, right? So studying about the soil and how it can interact with the plants, how can it provide good water, good moisture to the plant, good nutrient to the plant. So that is why field management here is also important. And under agronomy, basically, we study about the different culture operations that happen in agriculture. ठीक है. For example, in agriculture we go for, आपने at least if you have not read it before, you must know, right? Weeding होती है, बीच बीच में क्या जाते हैं, जो घास होती है उनको निकाल देते हैं. This is the intercultural operations. बीच बीच में क्या करते हैं, even though that crops are standing on the field, but still what the farmer do, they loosen up the soil a little bit around the plant, so that what the exchange of the gases between the soil and the atmosphere, it can happen, because roots also require oxygen to breathe also, right? And this loosening up will also help the water to enter into the soil regime, right? So that is why this what happens in agronomy. In general sense, I have to tell you, where we first of all create such principles, we do research and make such principles, and then we practice those principles for the production of crops, and also to manage the field overall, since you are growing till the time you are harvesting. That is known as what? It is known as your agronomy. Okay, so I hope it is clear, and I hope you also understand the importance of agronomy also. In your summary sheet you will find more points that will back up to why agronomy it is important. ठीक है, अब basic branches की बात करें, in your देखो summary sheet you would also find some other terms also. For example biochemistry आपको उसमें मिलेगा, crop physiology मिलेगा. देखो these terms have been added under agronomy because these are the things that we study, right? For example, crop physiology, it deals with the how the plant, the physical portion of the plant, right? Or how it responses to different stimulus. ठीक है. Similarly, biochemistry में आपको क्या आ जाएगा, देखो in plants there are chemical reactions happening, right? If the plant is making food out of carbon dioxide, combining it with using water and sunlight, of course there's some chemical reaction going on, right? Other metabolic activities happen. So these all comes under your biochemistry. Okay, so there will be some few terms, so it's not like that I am deliberately means that is something I'm deliberately leaving in this session, because that just to give you an idea of general terminologies कि क्या components होते हैं agronomy के. ठीक है. However, there are three branches that we have. ठीक है. The main three branches of agronomy we have, and this is your previous year question as well. Okay? In agronomy, first of all, we focus on crop science. Now, crop science, as you can understand, it will this science it will do research on crop. Okay? How we can modify the crop, or the requirement of a crop can be understood, so that those inputs can be provided to the crop and we can get the benefit. Okay? So crop science deals with the crop production. Okay? Then we have the next one, which is your environmental science. उससे पहले मैं soil science बताती हूँ. Soil science is reading about the soil, the nutrients it can provide, the environment it can provide, even the organism that are under the soil, and reading them, understanding them is very important, because they would help the plants to survive. ठीक है? If there are such animals who would destruct the crops, of course that is going to have a negative effect, right? So soil science का regime पढ़ना भी important है. This comes under a soil science. ठीक है. Then is your environmental science. ठीक है. अब देखो, you have grown the plant in a particular land, even the soil was good, right? But there was the relative humidity is very high for that particular plant, or for that matter, the particular plant, it requires longer duration of sunlight, but in that region there are shorter duration of sunlight that reaches, right? So this is comes under your environmental science, where how the interaction, physical interaction of the crop that you have sown around in that particular area with its environment is comes under what? Comes under your environmental science. Okay. Now under this chapter, what we are going to do, under this chapter we are going to study just about the crop science or crop production, because we have dedicated chapter for soil science. Okay. And environmental science will be something जो in between आपका further chapters में वो add on hota rahega. ठीक है. So in this chapter we are going to have focus on the crop science. And if you look at the central theme of agronomy, what is the central theme of agronomy? And this was your previous year question. It is soil, crop and environment relationship. ठीक है. Central theme of agronomy is your soil, crop and its environmental, the interaction between them, their relationship. ठीक है. I hope it is clear till now. If there are any questions, I'll ask you. I mean, I'll just look at an answer. Madhurima, for institute, as I said before, if you go on reading all the institute and the headquarters, it's a very tedious task. You need not to do that. If you're thorough with current affairs, for that you can refer to EduTap magazine. Okay? There, if any institute is in news because of any reason of its headquarter, we would have been we would have mentioned that. Okay? So just read that. Don't go for all these. Okay? All the institutes that are present in your summary sheet. Ma'am, okay, plantation also comes under your horticulture. So आपके जो garden crops है and plantation है, it comes under your horticulture. Agronomy is field, crop is general. Yes, ma'am is be bilingual. Can crops is it fine with everybody if I go for bilingual? I'm trying to converse in English only, so as to if somebody is from southern India and they could not understand in bilingual, that is why I'm saying that. But if everybody would be comfortable, I'll switch to that only. Ash, in general, when we say to agronomy, it's a field crop only. However, if at the backyard you want to grow your rice or wheat, that's fine, right? But it's the general categorization that we are saying. Nihal, as we have understood, there are three branches. We understood, right? There are three branches of agriculture: crop science, environmental science, and the soil science. Okay? So their relationship, the interaction that happens, it is a central theme. So agronomy deals with crop science, how it will interact with the soil science, and how the environmental science, it will further improve the production. Okay? Bilingual, no, ma'am. See, soil science, we have a separate chapter for it. And soil science is what basically when you study about soil, right? How much, what nutrients are present in it, what is the pH of the soil, will that pH will be suitable for a particular crop or not, right? Apart from that, what else can be the temperature of the soil? Okay, this is also comes under soil science. What are the, is there any organic matter present there or not? So ये सारी चीजें, it all comes under your soil science, along with the soil texture also. Is it more clay, is it more sandy soil? ठीक है, तो ये सारी चीजें, all these comes under your soil science. Environmental science is how the interaction is being done, right? For example, you have sown the crop in the field. Relative temperature plays its role. Now temperature you can't include in soil science, you can't include in soil in your crop science, right? So where will it fall? It will fall under your environmental science. Precipitation, rainfall is happening, it can't be added under crop soil, it can't be added under your soil science. So where it will be added? It will be added under the environmental science, right? 5 months. 5 months will be enough. Okay, I'll be doing in English only. And if it happens that somebody is not able to understand, you can ask me to repeat in Hindi, then I'll explain in Hindi. Okay. Yes, Ankita. Pradnya, if you're targeting for this number, then I would not recommend that go for pre-recorded videos. If you're going for next year, if you're targeting next year's, then you can watch pre-recorded videos as well. Though as those are crops only, but those are not field crops. Those are horticulture crops. Okay. Yes, Agman. Yes, Yashika, and please attempt quizzes also. Asus it is present in the course, ठीक है, ARD concept notes करके होगा. uh, ठीक है. Yes, I'll take the doubts at the end of the session. I'll take only the doubts which are related to that particular topic only which we are covering. The rest of the doubts I'll do at the end of the session. ठीक है. Now we have categorized. We have done the classification of agronomy on various bases. ठीक है. The first classification that we have done of the agronomy. And now you have to keep in mind that we are just talking about the agronomy crops. ठीक है. Agronomy plants की बात कर रहे हैं. Now these classification we have done based on their physiological appearance, based on their roots. There are other cases also which you must know, you are present in your summary sheet, right? Here based on the use of the plants, like for what product are we using, no, on that basis we have some classification, right? And these are your सीरियल क्रॉप्स. व्हाट आर योर सीरियल क्रॉप्स? सो बेसिकली देखो जो आपके सीरियल क्रॉप्स होते हैं ना, दीज आर दे बिलोंग टू योर ग्रास फैमिली. ठीक है, ग्रास फैमिली के होते हैं. एंड इफ आई टॉक अबाउट द फैमिली, दे बिलोंग टू ग्रामिनी और पोएसी. ग्रामिनी पोएसी, दोज आर बोथ द सेम फैमिलीज ओनली. ठीक है. एंड द प्रोडक्ट दैट वी गेट आउट ऑफ इट इज योर स्टार्ची ग्रेन्स. स्टार्ची ग्रेन्स आपको मिलते हैं. द बेस्ट एग्जाम्पल इज योर राइस, व्हीट, मेज, ऑल दे आर सीरियल्स. ठीक है. योर मिलेट्स ऑल्सो कम अंडर योर सीरियल क्रॉप्स ओनली. ठीक है, ये सब आपके क्या है, सीरियल क्रॉप्स हैं. इनका जो प्रोडक्ट आप कंज्यूम कर रहे हो, द प्रोडक्ट दैट यू आर टेकिंग, दैट इज योर स्टार्ची ग्रेन्स. ठीक है. नेक्स्ट वी हैव पल्स क्रॉप्स. ठीक है, व्हाट आर योर पल्स क्रॉप्स? सो फ्रॉम दैट वी गेट पल्स. ठीक है, कौन सी फैमिली को बिलोंग करते हैं? लेग्यूमिनेसी फैमिली, ऑल्सो नोन एज लेग्यूम. ओके, also known as your legume. And legume has derived from Latin word which means to gather. Why is this term? Because initially देखो, these legumes they would have to be handpicked, so that is why legume, which means to gather, has been named. What is the importance of these leguminous crops? The most important thing of the leguminous crop is that they fix the atmospheric nitrogen. देखो क्या होता है, these they have this natural ability, pulses, ठीक है, that whenever they grow, the legume crops that they are grown, no, they are in association with the bacteria. ठीक है, राइजोम, ठीक है, आपके राइजोम्स के साथ वो एसोसिएशन में होते हैं. ठीक है. नाउ दीज राइजोम्स दे हैव दिस एबिलिटी टू फिक्स एटमॉस्फेरिक नाइट्रोजन इनटू द सॉइल. देखो, नाइट्रोजन इट इज अबंडेंटली प्रेजेंट इन योर एटमॉस्फेयर, राइट, बट इन द सॉइल इट इज नॉट अबंडेंटली प्रेजेंट, एंड ऑल द प्लांट्स दे रिक्वायर नाइट्रोजन टू ग्रो. ठीक है. सो दीज नोड्यूल्स विच आर फॉर्म्ड ऑफ राइजोबियम, ठीक है, ये क्या करते हैं, जो एटमॉस्फेयर का नाइट्रोजन है ना, वो फिक्स कर देते हैं फील्ड में, जिसकी वजह से बिकॉज ऑफ विच द नाइट्रोजन कंटेंट in the soil is increased and plants they can be utilized. Okay, so usually what happens, and these cereals they take these the nitrogen a lot, right? So what is done usually now when we have known about this, what we do, either we go for cereal plus legume in the field. Okay, and if we are not doing so, because देखो, if you are using this combination, so of course the legume it will keep on replenishing the nitrogen that is being taken by the cereal. Otherwise we always in crop rotation we use the pulses. Crop rotation is what, when you in a field you have grown a particular crop, then there will be a till it will be grown only till a season, right? It will have a particular season. Then in the next season, now crop can be any, like means the example, the sort of crop that you have used, that can be any, but it will belong to leguminaceae family, because this is a feature of not just pulses but all the crops that come under the leguminaceae family to fix the atmospheric nitrogen. ठीक है, तो pulses crop, but the currently we are studying about the products that we get. ठीक है, तो cereal crops के बाद we have what, we have the pulses crop. ठीक है. Next we have example. So here in the pulses, I hope you have the idea, right? Kidney beans, chickpea, anything, lentil, all these are your pulse crops. Okay, then we have oil seeds crops. So such crops from which oil can be extracted. Now it can be of two types. Okay, one is your edible, one is non-edible. Edible means you can consume. For example, you have sunflower oil, right? You have olive oil. These are examples of your edible. Now we have non-edible, means these can't be consumed. However, they have their importance in the medicinal industry. Okay, medicinal and your not perfume, but yes, cosmetic industry mein, these can be utilized. For the examples of your non-edible can be there's mahua crop. Okay, Apart from that, castor oil, you must have heard, it is used for as an hair oil, right? So it cannot be consumed. So you have two types under the oil. Okay, next we have fiber crops. So such crops from which you can get fiber. Okay, now it can be further of three types. Okay, for example, you have such kind of crop from of which fruit you actually get the fiber. ठीक है, तो example हो गया आपका cotton. ठीक है, fruit बोलो, flower बोलो, basically ठीक है, उससे क्या मिलता है आपको, जो fiber मिलता है, that is your one sort of fiber crop. From the stem also you can get, for example, jute आपका best example हो गया है ना, jute के case में from stem only you get the fiber, right? And third can be example of your leaf. ठीक है, तो जो आपके जो sunhem leaf होते हैं, उससे आपके क्या होते हैं, from that also, from the leaves of the hemp, the fiber can be extracted, and that is why it also come under the fiber crop. Then is sugar crop, so from which you can get the sugar. So sugar cane is an example. This is the example, this is a sugar beet. The sugar beet and sugar cane are example of sugar crops. Then are commercial crops. देखो, commercial crops is the name given when you know the production is done not for personal use, but the sole aim of commercial crops is to sell and get benefit. ठीक है, so here tobacco can be the example, even sugarcane. देखो, you have to understand that some examples will be common, right? For example, in commercial crops, sugarcane can be used, which is also an example of sugar crops. However, if you are commercially, you are growing sugarcane for selling purpose to the industry, so of course you are using it as a commercial crop as well, right? Then we have forage crops. ठीक है, forage crops are the one which are used for the consumption. ठीक है, forage crop में भी ना you have different category in your summary sheet. You would also find forage are the crops which are used as food for livestock or animals. ठीक है, अब इसमें क्या है, fodder crop क्या होती है? Fodder crop is the one you have cut down the crop. If you're cutting down the crop, ठीक है, जो भी आपने लगाई है, it can be your berseem also, leucerine also, ये सब आपके कुछ examples है. ठीक है, you have cut down the grass and then you are providing them to the animals. This is no, this will, then the term will be called fodder. I think Sanket or anybody has asked me. ठीक है, तो उसको क्या बोलते हैं? fodder crop बोलते हैं. ठीक है, next we have the term which is known as pasture. अब pasture क्या होता है? pasture देखो, सबके forage में, be it fodder, pasture, next we will look at hay, next we will look at silage. All these, the examples can be same only. The difference is at what stage are we consuming them. ठीक है, so आपके जो fodder crops है, आप you have cut down the crop, you are providing, that is a fodder. Basically fodder you are providing. Pasture is where in the field only you are letting the animals eat. So pasture is the land in the area where you have grown the forage crops. ठीक है, जो आपने crops है animals के use के लिए, आपने, you have grown them in the field, and animals, they are directly, they are eating it from the land only. ठीक है, now this can be artificially grown or in the natural environment also, when the animals, they are being just sent for eating, those are known as what, that is known as pasture. I hope till now difference is clear. Forage is a bigger term which means food for livestock, the whatever crops that are used as food for livestock. In that, first we had fodder crop. Fodder deals with, or fodder deals with the normal cut down and giving. Pasture is what, in the field it is provided. Next is hay. When you dry, when you it happens no, for there, for two reasons. These are dried so that they can be consumed in the unconventional season also, where the particular crop is not sown. And देखो, dry roughage or dry roughage, green roughage, ये सब होता है, which we will study in animal husbandry. But hay is basically what, when you have dried the fodder and then you are in the dried form you are providing. ठीक है, तो जो yellowish color का होता है ना, golden yellowish, you must have seen, which is being provided, that is known as what, that is known as hay. ठीक है, silage is what, in silage also you want to store. So the aim of both hay and silage is to store the forage crop and then provide it to the animals. The difference is that in hay you are drying it out, but in silage what happens, in the green stage only the crops are being cut. Okay, then they are being stored and stored in anaerobic condition, where what is done, फर्मेंटेशन इज डन. ठीक है, फर्मेंटेशन, इसमें बेसिकली सेम कॉन्सेप्ट जाता है जैसे आपका पिकल्स में जाता है ना. पिकल्स, दे आर एट द, दे लुक सेम ओनली, राइट, बट दे कैन बी देन यूटिलाइज फॉर द लॉन्गर ड्यूरेशन, राइट. सिमिलर इज वाज द केस ऑफ साइलेज. व्हाट हैपेंस इन साइलेज आल्सो, यू वांट टू डू द स्टोरेज, बट दैट इन ग्रीन फॉरेज फॉर्मेट ओनली, लाइक कि वो ग्रीन ही रहे, इवन आफ्टरवर्ड्स इट्स इन ग्रीन ओनली, एंड दिस स्टोरेज इज डन सो दैट द ग्रीन फॉर्डर कैन बी यूटिलाइज्ड ऑफ सीजन. ठीक है, आई होप इट इज क्लियर. I'm just looking that if there is some question which is from this so that I can answer, right? Because at the end it would be more confusing if you don't get the concept now. So I would even request you everybody to restrict yourself just to the topic wise question. At the end, if you would be having more question, I'll definitely answer, right? These live sessions are for you only. Yes. uh Difference between fodder, so Saro, from that we understood that fodder, it is a type of forage crop only, right? In forage is a bigger term, and in that we have different categories. So there is actually what difference between fodder and forage. Fodder is a part of forage, है ना? So the difference between hay and silage is hay is stored in whenever the fodder crop is stored in dried form for the some other time consumption, that is hay. And when the storage is done at the green stage only, ठीक है, उसको हमेशा green ही रहे, वो बाद में भी as a green fodder ही provide हो, that is known as what? That is known as your silage, ठीक है. Then you have green manure. Such crops, such crops are very rich in nutrition. So what happens, these crops, what are being done, they are first grown in the field, and then these crops are let die in the field only, because when they will then decompose and they will add nutrients into the soil. This is known as your green manure crops, okay. This can be done in situ also or ex situ also. In situ means where the plant is grown there only, and then it is then uprooted and let die there only. That is in situ, in that place only. One is ex situ. Ex situ means, for example, there were two fields, right? Here I have cultivated the crops, what I have done, I have uprooted everything and I have let them die in some other field, because I want to increase the nutrition of this new field. This is known as what? This is known as ex situ, ठीक है. तो in situ होते हैं cultivation, एक ex situ होता है which comes under your green manure crops. Best example आपका ढेंचा होता है, ठीक है, safflower, ये सब कुछ examples है green manure crops. And usually we go for leguminous crop only, usually in the cases, because those provide the nitrogen also, they fix nitrogen also, ठीक है. Next we have spices, ठीक है. There is a difference that I want to tell you between spices and condiments that you will find, ठीक है. वैसे spices and condiments they come under your horticulture, ठीक है. But I'll just let you the difference here only, ठीक है. Spices and condiments का एक difference होता है, देखो, both are being used to add flavor to your food, ठीक है. दोनों का काम, both का काम है, both काम is to the work of both the sorts is to the product is to add flavor to your food. The difference is when are they used in the cooking procedure, ठीक है. Spices are the ones which are used during the cooking, ठीक है. So for example, during the cooking, if you are using fenugreek, if you are using clove, anything you are adding during the cooking, that will be called spice, ठीक है. Condiment is the term which we use as sides, ठीक है. इसको side की तरह we use in the in your food, ठीक है. For example, ketchup, ठीक है. For example, chutney. So you are eating only, but as a side you have taken chutney, ketchup, pickle, right, to add the flavor, to enhance the flavor. That is known as condiment. And one more thing you have to keep in mind, and it is that condiments are processed first, right? For example, if you're using mayonnaise, if you're using ketchup, right, it has been processed first and then only it has been utilized, okay. So this is the difference between the spices and condiments. Ash, देखो, green, the difference between green manure and pasture is for the what purpose they are being used. Pasture, here the aim of pasture, growing pasture, is so that the animals, they can feed on them, ठीक है. In case of green manure, the aim is to increase the nutrient value of the field. So in case of green manure, what we do, we grow plants over there, ठीक है. And we go for such plants which are highly nutritious. And then what we do, in the green stage only, we don't let them dry there, no, in the green stage only, what we will do, we will uproot them and then we will mix them in the soil. But because they are living organism, and it's the tendency of the living organism to get decomposed, to die, right? So they will die there only. And in decomposition, what happens, the complex minerals are then being turned into the simplest form, and then they are mixed into the soil, and by this method the nutrient value of the soil is increased, ठीक है. Yes, Sanjeev. Spices and condiments, देखो, spice and condiments both are used as used for enhancing the flavor. Spices are used during the cooking process, ठीक है. If you are adding any if you are adding any product, for example, you are making what can I say? You're making kheer, for example, any sweet dish you are making. One is normally you are making, and in one you have added elaichi also, right? So the flavor where elaichi has been added, it will be tastier, right? So you have added something into the food to enhance its flavor. That will be known as what? That will be your spices, right? Now, what is your condiment? Condiment also will help to improve the food. Usually, for example, like you are eating khichdi, in that you have added a pickle, right? You are eating a pickle with it. So pickle, what it has done, it has added the flavor to the food that you were eating, right? But it is used as a side. It was not used during the cooking process. It is known as what? Condiment. And another thing that I've told you about condiment, that these are usually processed first. Means if you're using a mango pickle, you're not just eating directly mango. No, it had gone through a process first. Similarly, if you're eating ketchup with your paratha, right? So this ketchup, you are not actually, it's not the exact tomato. But first, that tomato was gone through a process. It has been processed and now made into a ketchup that you are eating, right? So this is the difference between spices and condiments. I hope now it is clear. ठीक है? अक्षय, प्लांटेशन कैन बी यूज्ड एज कमर्शियल. देखो, कमर्शियल थोड़ा ब्रॉडर टर्म हो गया. सो प्लांटेशन आर टाइप ऑफ कमर्शियल क्रॉप्स ओनली. कमर्शियल क्रॉप्स आर ब्रॉडर इफ यू आर यूजिंग नाउ शुगर केन, right? Or if you are using, for example, tobacco. So tobacco is also commercial crop, but tobacco is not plantation, right? So plantation comes under commercial. Here, just to give you the difference, Madhurima. ओके फाइन, ठीक है, चलो आगे बढ़ते हैं. ठीक है, नेक्स्ट वी आर क्लासिफाइंग द क्रॉस बेस्ड ऑन द ऑन्टोजेनी. ठीक है, ऑन्टोजेनी मींस देयर लाइफ साइकिल. ठीक है, सो लाइफ साइकिल मींस, देखो, व्हेन डू वी कॉल अ पर्टिकुलर प्लांट टू कंप्लीट इट्स लाइफ साइकिल? व्हेन it has reproduced, it has given a progeny, and then it dies. That is known as what? That is known as a complete life cycle. Okay. So in case of, when we talk about reproduction in terms of agriculture crops, we mean the product that we had to get, it has formed seed. So it has formed seed, and after that it is dying, so it has completed its process. Okay. Now some plants can do within a 4-5 months of time period, which we call it season, right? So we know, na, there is a monsoon season, winter season, which is known as Kharif season, Rabi season. Then we have a Zayat season, summer season of short duration, right? So these are the seasons, right? Some crops have the ability to complete their life cycle from even starting from a seed to then again to die, okay, to produce, to give the product, to give the yield, and then have the senescence phase. That is known as your that those are type of crops which can do that in one season, are known as annual crops. Okay, annual का मतलब होता है once a year. So in a year, in a particular season, if they have done so, those are known as annual crops. ठीक है, biennial crops में क्या होता है? They require 2 seasons. So in one season, what they do in one season, they just have the vegetative production, vegetative growth. Vegetative growth is what? It is before the reproduction growth, okay? Or reproduction phase. First, you have a vegetative phase where the foliage is basically the biomass is increased. Then happens your reproductive stage when flowers are formed, and then reproduction happens, then seed is generated. That is known as your reproductive phase, okay? Biennial means 2. So it means in first season they will just have a vegetative growth, and in the next season they will have the reproductive phase that will go. Okay, that is known as what? Such kind of crops is known as what? It is known as biennial crops. Okay, example है आपका sugar beet का. ठीक है, annual crops में you had example rice, wheat, maize. ठीक है, ये सब example है जो in a season they complete their life cycle and then they die. Okay. Third है perennial crops. Perennial crops are the ones which we have already understood. Perennials means for the n number of years, right? So you can cultivate them once, and then what they do, they can survive for many years. They give produce for many years, right? So perennial में आपके जैसे napier, food grass, coconut, basically your plantation crops, all they come under perennial crops. ठीक है, तो ये सारे आपके we have looked at the classification based on the life cycle. ठीक है, देखो गौरव, last year there were questions from scientific, like there were questions related to the scientific name. ठीक है, now देखो the maximum that will be asked will be 2. वैसे usually 1 question will be asked from scientific name. Maximum to maximum can be asked is 2. Now this is something up to you. If you are thinking that you want to get 2 marks, so you will study, or if you want to risk the 2 marks, ठीक है, that I can say at this moment, right? Mangoes are your fruits, Nitya, right? Those are your horticulture crops, but yes, they come under your perennial crops, right? You have grown them once and you're getting results multiple times, ठीक है? Next is based on the botanical. Next we have botanical classification, ठीक है? I don't encourage anybody to laugh on anybody comments, ठीक है? Because you all are taking crash course because you don't have background in agriculture, right? Had you had background in any of the subject, you would not be taking classes, you would be having self revision only, right? So first of all, anybody can ask any question, okay, and nobody is going to comment anything on that, ठीक है? So we have now based on botanical classification, ठीक है? Botanical classification is how they look, ठीक है? इसमें basically we have two types, monocotyledons, ठीक है? And we have then dicotyledons, ठीक है? Mono dicotyledons का I would want to say simple example, ठीक है? If any grain, जैसे आपको देखो wheat है, you can't actually cut it, right? Similarly, जैसे आपका corn है, you can't actually cut it into two equal halves, right? But if you take example of rajma, ठीक है? Rajma, kidney beans, they can divide. So where you are looking at two cotyledons, these are known as individual cotyledons. If you can find two cotyledons, rajma हो गया, चना हो गया, कुछ भी हो गया, where it can be divided, it is known as what? It is known as dicotyledon, ठीक है? Where you don't have such two distinct cotyledon present, it is known as monocotyledon. Mono means one. So cotyledon is what? Basically, cotyledon is the produce where the food is being stored, ठीक है? और अगर एक होगा मोनोकोटिलेडन, अगर दो होंगे डाइकोटिलेडन. बेसिकली आपके जो सीरियल्स होते हैं ना, अब बाय नाउ आई होप यू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट आर सीरियल्स. सो सीरियल्स आर योर मोनोकोटिलेडन्स एंड लेग्यूम्स आर योर डाइकोटिलेडन, ठीक है? तो ये आपको मैं बेसिक एग्जांपल्स बता रही हूँ जो हैं, ठीक है? एंड देयर आर रेस्ट examples also, इनको करने की जरूरत है नहीं. They give the physical differentiation. For example, I'll just give you one only. For example, if you observe the plant of a monocotyledon, the leaves of them, the veins, they are like ऐसे parallel, ठीक है? However, if you are just looking at a plant and you are looking this web-like structure of the leaves, so you would anyway by default you have to understand that this is a dicotyledon. Even without looking at the seed, you can guess a plant is a monocotyledon or dicotyledon depending on these factors which are mentioned here. However, these are not that important from the examination perspective. Next is based on the seasons. So seasons, you have understood there are three sort of seasons that there are खरीफ season है, रबी crops है, summer season है, ठीक है? जिसको जायद season भी बोलते हैं, ठीक है? जायद season is very short duration, ठीक है? खरीफ season का sowing time होता है जून जुलाई सितंबर अक्टूबर हार्वेस्टिंग. देखो ये आर इंपॉर्टेंट है, देखो सीजन आर इंपॉर्टेंट टू रिमेंबर, ठीक है? एग्जांपल्स है राइस, मेज, ग्राउंडनट है. रबी सीजन ड्यूरिंग द विंटर टाइम, सो सोइंग इज डन इन द विंटर टाइम. हाउएवर हार्वेस्टिंग इज यूजुअली आफ्टर 4 to 6 months के टाइम स्पैन में हो जाती है, ठीक है? तो मार्च अप्रैल में होती है. एग्जाम्पल्स वी हैव बार्ले, व्हीट, ओट्स, ठीक है? देन वी हैव यार जायद क्रॉप्स, ठीक है? जायद क्रॉप के देखो ये कुछ एग्जांपल्स जैसे ब्लैक ग्राम, ग्रीन ग्राम है ना. आई वुड अपडेट दैट whenever you get the PDF. No, I'll update that. Here best example could be your cucumber, watermelon. Why so? देखो these black gram, green gram, cowpea, these can also be grown as जायद crops, ठीक है? Means for short duration they can be grown. However, they are not mainstream them, ठीक है? तो मैं इसको अपडेट करके watermelon, cucumber ये सब ऐड कर दूंगी, ठीक है? But जायद crops are the one during February, March they are being sown, and as you can see very early they are being harvested during the May June time, they are harvested, ठीक है? नेक्स्ट आपको एक कंटेंट मिलेगा समरी शीट में, दैट इज बेस्ड ऑन द पॉलिनेशन फैक्टर, ठीक है? अब उसमें जो समझना है, देर आर सम टर्मिनोलॉजीज दैट आई वांट यू टू अंडरस्टैंड. रेस्ट अपार्ट इट इज रीडेबल आल्सो. इवन इफ यू रीड you would understand, and it is not that much important, right? One classification there is between self pollination, वो सब देख लेते हैं, ठीक है? बेसिकली what is pollination? when the male part, ठीक है, which is pollen, ठीक है, it enters the female body of the plant, ठीक है? So that is known as what? This movement is known as what? This transfer of pollen from male portion to the female portion is known as what? This transfer is known as pollination, ठीक है? These are terms, and then in your notes you will find some terms, ठीक है? One is monosexual plant flower, and one is bisexual flower, ठीक है? देर आर 4 terms that I want you to understand: मोनोसेक्सुअल, बाइसेक्सुअल, मोनोइशियस एंड डायोशियस, ठीक है? यहाँ पे आपको कंफ्यूजन आएगी, सो लेट्स जस्ट अंडरस्टैंड दैट, ठीक है? सो फर्स्ट वी हैव मोनोसेक्सुअल, ठीक है? तो मोनोसेक्सुअल आर सच such flowers where only either the male part is present or the female part is present. That is your mono. Mono means one. So monosexual means only one sort of you can say part is present. Okay, either male or female. What is bisexual? In bisexual, in a single plant, bi means two. So in a single flower only, I'm sorry if I'm saying plant, it means flower only. Okay, in both the cases we are referring to flower. Okay, bisexual flower is when in a single flower both male and female are present. Okay, so first we have to understand monosexual is one single. Mono means single. So in a single flower, single either male or female genital will be present. Bisexual is one in a when in a single flower both are present. Okay, both components are present, male and female as well. Okay, अब ये होगा अलग thing. Now this is separate thing. Now let's come to the monoecious and dioecious plant. Now and what is the difference? देखो monoecious plants. अब देखो we are talking about plants. Please keep in mind monosexual, bisexual were flowers. Now monoecious, dioecious we will compare in respect to the plant body. ठीक है, in that we have monoecious. ठीक है, mono again means single. तो क्या मतलब हुआ इसका? It means that in a single plant both male and female flowers are present. Best example आपका corn हो गया. क्या मतलब हुआ इसमें? In different positions both male and female are present. तो for example आपका जैसे maize है, जो उसका ऊपर टैसल पोर्शन है, जो मेल पोर्शन है ना, इट इज प्रेजेंट अबव, एंड देन द कॉब दैट यू ईट, जो आप कॉब खाते हो ना, दोज आर द फीमेल पार्ट. ठीक है, सो हियर इन अ सिंगल प्लांट मेल पार्ट इज ऑल्सो प्रेजेंट, मेल फ्लावर इज ऑल्सो प्रेजेंट, और यू कैन से whatever be the male entity it is also present, and female entity is also present. That is your monoecious plant. ठीक है, there are some other plants also where in a tree only one sort of पेरेंट लाइक फ्लावर इज प्रेजेंट. आइदर देखो जैसे अगर पूरे पेड़ में सिर्फ मेल फ्लावर्स प्रेजेंट है, ओनली male flowers are there. ठीक है, and then in one particular plant only female flowers are present. Those are known as what? Those are known as dioecious plant. ठीक है, monosexual, bisexual related to flowers. ठीक है, I hope you understand. In terms of plants when we say, ठीक है, plants के term में monoecious plants are those where in a single plant both male and female flowers are present. Best example is your corn. ठीक है, in dioecious plant what happens? Here male and female both are present in different plants. For example, papaya. So in case of papaya, there will be, if in a tree, it will be either male flowers or female flowers. It will never be both. ठीक है, now there are some other terms. देखो ये terminologies that can be used. ठीक है, now देखो अब ये जो self pollination and cross pollination है ना, now this depends, right? It's not necessary that they are going to help self pollination only, cross pollination only, right? It sometimes happen that some plants they can cater to both self pollination, cross pollination only. However, usually it happens that if it is in a same plant, so they usually they promote the self pollination, but we have some exceptions as well. ठीक है, ये सारी चीज अब देखो, अब ये रटने वाला जो चीज है ना, it is present in your notes. अब देखो for example tomato, it goes for self pollination only, right? That is present in your notes, right? तो ये थोड़ा बहुत चीज है which can be done, and if you still get confusion you can ask me in the next session, right? So our focus should be more on understanding the concepts and some of the examples. If you can't get why is it so, I'll tell you in the next session. ठीक है, but I hope the clarity of the self pollination and cross pollination happens. ठीक है, अब again ठीक है, I'll tell everybody what is self pollination. When for example if it is a single flower only, or maybe if a simple plant, ठीक है, if from the same plant only pollination is happening between male and female, it is self pollination. But if the pollination is happening to some other plant, okay, from some other plant, it is known as what? It is known as cross pollination. Why cross pollination? It is more promoted in the natural environment. Why? Because see, if from a single flower only, no, they keep on pollinating from in the single plant, this happens, no, it will lead to the genetic depression. Genetic depression means there will come a stage where when the recessive characters will keep on showing, okay, or will start showing. So what does it mean? Cross pollination, it helps to have better combinations of genes, and in the better combinations of genes, then what happens, we get good result in progeny. However, if in a single plant only, the self pollination will keep on happening, because combinations are also to a certain extent, right? So there then you will the plant will start showing such combinations which are actually recessive or not good for us. Okay, that is known as self pollination. Then we have water pollination. देखो अब now we have understood pollination is what transfer of pollen from male to female part. ठीक है, this is pollination. Now that can be happen with various agents. So if it happening with the help of water, because water plants, देखो अब जैसे water plants they live in a particular, they are at a static position only, right? If it's a male component, it's a female component, how the pollens will move here? Of course with the flow of water only, right? So when water, it acts as an agent for pollination, we call it to be hydrophily. So you can memorize it in a way that hydro, it means water, right? So the pollination which happens through water as an agent, it is known as what? It is known as hydrophily. Okay. Then wind pollination, the pollination that happens because of wind. Because of wind, the pollens, they move, they transfer from one place to another. They end up on a female flower, and then they fertilize it, and which will lead to progeny. Dekho, all organisms in this world want to strive and want to increase their population in the world. Okay? So that is why these are the natural way by which they do so. So when it happens with wind, we call it anemophily. Okay? By animals we call zoophily, and one more term it is there, pollination with insects. Dekho, insects, they also play a major role for transfer of pollen, right? With the insects that happens, it is known as entomophily. ठीक है, एंटोमो. वाई देखो अब एंटोमो और एनिमो में प्लीज कंफ्यूज मत होना, ठीक है? एंटोमो, एक्चुअली एंटोमोलॉजी इज अ ब्रांच okay, which deals with the studying of insects. ठीक है? Entomology is a branch, and because it deals with the study of insects, so that is why also when the pollination is involved, where the pollination happens, where insects are involved, of course we are going to use the term entomophily. Okay? So what we are doing, if you have lose the track, currently we are looking at the classification of agronomic crops based on different factors. So we have understood based on the products, then what we understood based on the seasons we have looked at, okay, botanical life cycle. And now what we are going to look at by CO2 fixation. Basically it deals with your photosynthesis. Again, please have to keep in mind that we have to just focus on what is important from NABARD's perspective at this very moment, right? Had it been for the longer duration, I would have appreciated if you have understood everything that we have mentioned in the photosynthesis. But at this moment, I just want to tell you the few things that you need to just, pay attention to from the examination perspective. Carbon dioxide fixation का क्या मतलब है? देखो, we know photosynthesis is a process happens from by which plants it make its own food. That is true, right? Now we know that for making this food, carbon dioxide is required, right? हाइड्रोजन भी चाहिए होता है. बेसिकली हाइड्रोजन चाहिए होता है, ऑक्सीजन लिबरेट हो जाता है. ठीक है? तो पानी भी चाहिए होता है, हाइड्रोजन नहीं, वाटर चाहिए होता है. प्लस वी नीड सनलाइट ऑल्सो. ठीक है, सनलाइट भी रिक्वायर्ड होती है. ठीक है? एंड क्लोरोफिल का भी रोल प्ले होता है. क्लोरोफिल इज द पोर्शन वेयर दिस एक्टिविटी इट हैपेंस. ठीक है? एंड उससे हमको क्या मिलता है? उससे हमको ग्लूकोज मिलता है. ठीक है? हमको ग्लूकोज मिलता है, एंड हमारा ऑक्सीजन क्या होता है? एज अ बाय प्रोडक्ट लिबरेट हो जाता है. ठीक है? तो कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड, वाटर, सनलाइट, क्लोरोफिल, ये सब चाहिए, एंड देन देयर इज अ प्रोसेस दैट हैपेंस. ठीक है? अब ये जो प्रोसेस होती है, दिस फ्रॉम द NABARD perspective in detail you need not to understand. ठीक है? बट व्हाट थिंग्स लाइक, देखो क्या होता है ना, NABARD में ना बस टर्मिनोलॉजीज आ जाती है, तो मैं बस आपको उससे हाईलाइट करवाना चाहती हूँ. आई जस्ट वांट यू टू बी फेमिलियर विद इट. ठीक है? नाउ व्हाट हैपेंस, we have understood process happens. Now for the process to happen, no, there in that process you can categorize the various process that happens under photosynthesis into two categories. One, half portion, or in the portion where light is required. We know na, sunlight is required. So in the initial step, sunlight is required. That is known as your light reaction. बहुत simple, plain समझो. ठीक है? And the process, the process in this photosynthesis chain where light is not required, it is known as dark reaction. What does it mean? That here the reactions can take place without the presence of light. ठीक है? तो light reaction क्या होता है in photosynthesis, where in the steps where light is required, that is known as light reaction. And in the steps where there is no necessity of light, dark reaction does not mean that it should be dark. Dark reaction just means that even if there is no light present, it is not, the reaction is not going to get affected. ठीक है? I hope it is clear till now, right? What is light reaction, dark reaction? ठीक है? The thing that you have to memorize from this table perspective is the another name of light reaction is Hill reaction and Arnon reaction. So these are two scientists who gave their theories and who helped us to understand these reaction better. ठीक है, तो simple याद रखना, light reaction it is also known as Hill reaction, it is also known as Arnon cycle. ठीक है, जबकि dark reaction it is also known as Blackman cycle because he made his contribution and he helped us to understand the dark reaction better. ठीक है, अब बस इसको इतना समझ, अभी तक इतना समझ लो. Photosynthesis is a process which can be categorized into light reaction where light is required and dark reaction where light is not required. ठीक है, light reaction also known as Hill reaction or Arnon cycle. Dark reaction is also known as Blackman cycle. अभी तक clear है? ठीक है, अब CO2 fixation. अब देखो, in photosynthesis only we are talking about CO2 fixation. What does it mean? So we have understood that there is a step-by-step process that goes on from where we get the glucose as the product. ठीक है, तो step-by-step process होती है, that we have understood. In some light required, dark is not required, that is. If in such plant where the first stable product of carbon is of 3 molecules, it is known as C3 plant. मुझे समझ में आ गया, आपको नहीं पता चला होगा. ठीक है, let me just again tell you. ठीक है, based on carbon dioxide fixation, what does it mean? We have understood in this photosynthesis process there are various steps involved, right? And in this step, of course, if we are using carbon dioxide, so we are using carbon, right? We are using carbon. So in such plants where the first stable compound of carbon is of 3 molecule means there 3 carbon will be there. Such plants are known as C3 plants. ठीक है, C4 plants में आपका ये वैसे phosphoglyceric acid बनता है आपका. ठीक है, इसमें आपका oxaloacetic acid बनता है. If you want to remember, C4 plant are such plants where the first in the photosynthesis process, the first stable carbon compound is of 4 carbon compound. ठीक है, C3 plants 3 carbon compounds, first stable product is of 3 carbons. In C4 plants the first stable compound is of 4 carbon. This you have to understand. On that basis we have 3 categories: C3 plants, C4 plants, and the last we have which is your CAM plant. देखो, CAM plants are a separate category. देखो, what happens in this CAM plants, ठीक है, these plants are they live in the very hot conditions. ठीक है, we understand that the plants, what they do, how do they exchange gases? If they are taking in carbon dioxide, they are giving out oxygen, how they are doing, right? Because in their stems and in their leaves stomata is present. Stomata is that structure which opens, and when it opens the exchange of gases it happens. ठीक है, अब क्या होता है, because देखो opening हुई है, if the opening of pores is done for the exchange of gases, but still because water will also get lost. Why? Because if temperature is high, for example in normal condition you can take off yours as well, right? When temperature is high you have sweating, right? And the water that is inside your body, it moves out, right? Similarly in plant also it happens that you are opening stomata, the plant is opening stomata for the exchange of gases, but because of the high temperature even the water they get lost out of it, right? And if water get lost, it is not good for plants, right? So such plants, what they do during the night time, so in daytime they don't do anything. In the night time what they do, they open their stomata, and of course the temperature will not be as high as it will be in the daytime, right? So in the night they open the pores, they just they exchange the gases, and during the daytime they do the photosynthesis process. Now why do they have to wait to the day for the daytime? Because we understand that light reaction takes place. Plants, they also require light to complete the photosynthesis process, right? So in the night, CAM plants, what they do, the only difference between C3, C4 and CAM plant is that CAM plants, what they do in the night time, they open up the stomata, they exchange the gases. During the daytime, they do the photosynthesis process, and they have to wait it till the daytime because sunlight is required. And I hope now you understand कि जो daytime है, it means whenever the sunlight is out. It does not necessarily means 12 p.m. It means whenever the time is out. Okay? And this moving out of the water vapor from the body is known as transpiration in case of plants. ठीक है, उसको transpiration बोलते हैं. ठीक है, So yeah, so देखो ये mesophyll, bundle sheath, these are all present inside the chlorophyll, where the different steps that happen, no, they also happen in the different section in the chlorophyll. So the chlorophyll is basically a pigment, but जो chloroplast होता है वहां पे, ठीक है. So I would not recommend remember कि which step happens which section of the cell, ठीक है, of the organelle, that you don't have to do, ठीक है. बस just understand what the basic idea that we have to derive from it. We have to derive that there are C3 plants based on the photosynthesis or carbon dioxide fixation. C3 plants are there, C4 plants are there, CAM plants are there, ठीक है. जो maximum plants है, the maximum plants that exist, those are your C3 plants. However, 3% they are C4 plants. And mostly your succulents. What are succulents? For them, you just have to keep in mind whichever plant they store water. Aloe vera ho gaya, your cactus, all these are your CAM plants. And you can understand that they exist in the xerophytic conditions only, right? So you, in this case, what you have to do, you have to just remember the examples, and I would recommend at least of C4 plants you do. Why? Because whatever which is exception, that is asked in examination. If something which is common, there are less chances of it being asked in the examination. But yes, that of which are exception, they are asked, ठीक है. तो sugar cane, maize, sorghum, millet, at least remember this, especially the maize case, these can be asked in examination, ठीक है. Then you have CAM plants, ठीक है, we have cacti, we have orchids, we have pineapple, ठीक है. Dexon, I'm sorry, I don't know the answer for that, ठीक है, if dragon fruit comes under CAM only, because that's not the common example we use. However, I'll just look at it, and in the next session I'll definitely let you know. Okay, so these are based on carbon dioxide fixation. We have categorization of the crops, ठीक है. Now based on nutritive intake, ठीक है, nutritive intake में we have such crops. There are some crops which actually provide nutrient back into the soil, ठीक है. And especially we have legume crops, berseem, alfalfa, soybean, all these are legume crops, ठीक है. So based on, are the plants giving nutrients into the soil, back into the soil, or are they just taking nutrients out of the soil? On that basis we have classification. So this, instead of देखो इसमें the question, it will not be framed as what are the different types of on the basis of nutrient intake, what can be the classification. No, they can directly ask you what are exhaustive crops, or maybe they can directly give you the definition that crops which feed heavily into the soil and deplete soil nutrients, and then from the option you would have to identify like which sort of crops are they, ठीक है. तो आपके दो टाइप की. So here what the idea is, what the understanding is, you have to understand the terminology. Restorative crops, they restore the nutrients back into the soil. Best example, legume crops. Exhaustive crops, they just take everything from soil and they deplete the soil nutrients out of it. Best example can be your देखो sunflower is a very good example of exhaustive crops, ठीक है. I would say remember sunflower. And yes, cereals can come under that, but Mudra, they can be, cereals can come, but these are, these are the ones which take in a lot, like cereals also do, but they at one cycle only, they won't exhaust everything. But if we talk about sunflower, tobacco, no, they consume a lot in one cycle only, ठीक है. So those are known as exhaustive crops. Now in your summary sheet, you would find one or more other such categorization also. One that I could remember, it is based on the depth, ठीक है. So in the depth of the roots, ठीक है, तो वो you can have an understanding. However, it is not that important. That is why I have not included that. Another classification that you must find it there would be based on the climatic condition. So in that we have tropical, subtropical, and temperate. Okay, so now that categorization, I would say it would be better, it would be more important in the plantation and horticulture section, okay. Plantation and horticulture section, because usually the fruits and vegetables that we have in India, those are dependent on it. And here the environment is like such that for agronomy we actually don't need to have the categorization based on the climatic conditions, okay. Plantation se important hai, to wahan pe we are going to understand, and we are going to understand the trick also how to do that, okay. So dekho, it's 5 already, okay. So and you have next sessions from 5:30, okay. And you should have some gap, half an hour gap, okay. So what we are going to do, we are going to continue it in the next session, okay. Don't worry, I'll not leave anything today because of because of the technical issues also. Some 5-10 minutes are wasted overall, right? So I'll be more careful from tomorrow. So we are going to continue. What I'll do, I'll take some of the questions, okay. So if you want to leave, you can. However, if you have some questions to ask, you can do so. I'll look at both of YouTube as well and here also. Ankita, last year cutoff just for ARD section was 6.75. Sectional cutoff. Yeah. So see, the last time the demo that we gave, it was for the ARD live classes, top up classes that we have come. We have come up with the crash course. TK. So here I want to tell you about we are going to do more questions, TK, but here I want to tell you about the crash course that we are running, TK. So here we have come up in your 6 days. We are going to give you 100% preparation for your NABARD Grade A examination 2023. TK. Live crash course hoga. This is one demo class. After 1 or 2 class, we are going to switch to the private classes. TK. That is why if you want to be part of it, you can avail you can avail 50% discount currently that we are running. ठीक है, आज ही से proper classes शुरू हुई हैं of ARD start tech, so not much of you has been lost, and you are going to get daily live classes, short notes, mind maps, current affairs, and test series, which will help you to have better preparation. And you can use the code selection again to get 50% off, and the link, it is present in the description box. ठीक है, so yes, सारी classes Zoom पर ही होंगी. These are just 1 to 2 classes that we are having here. Okay. Meditation, for that you can use the code selection and avail 50% off. Okay. And you can understand if in these limited time period, if we are providing 100% of the coverage, and if that too in live classes, so you can understand that fees is very much reasonable. Actually, it is very reasonable. I'll just look at. Okay, HP, this PDF, it will be present in the course where you will be actually getting the live recorded videos. Now, below that, you will find the PDF. Okay. And to the ones who were looking from the, who were watching from the YouTube, they can get from the Telegram channel. Now, I'll take some questions. I can see a lot of questions already over there. I will just answer till 5, 6. Okay. Why? Because you also require rest for the next class. Okay. Dragon fruit. Okay, ma'am. Can it be said that most cereals are exhaustive? Okay, ma'am. I can't find few things in summary. Namrata, what I'll do, I'll cross check. If something is absent, I'll add. Otherwise, you're going to get the PDF anyway, right? So you can utilize that. Aman, soil preparations. Aman, we have a dedicated chapter on soil, right? So we are going to cover everything there. If that is your question, if I'm not able to answer, understand it correctly, please ask again. A, only 5 months, more than enough. Priya, how and what to cover field crops? Priya, देखो, in field crops, the supplement, there are different types of crops. I would say go for generic approach. Okay. And for most important one, for example, wheat, rice, and maize, some legumes. Okay. You can have basic idea of the seed rate that is required and the temperature that they require, because questions have been framed from these only, and it will never be from any unconventional crop. It will be from any main crop only. Welcome, Manoj. Aman, I hope your doubt is clear. Which class you have of current affairs? Yes. Thank you, Mudra. Welcome, Gayatri. Ma'am, we can study 15 minutes more. Harshita. Harshita, I know you can, but it will become hectic for the next 2 class, right? That is why I just want you to give a break. Don't worry, I'll not leave anything, even though it means taking more classes. I will do that. Okay? So please don't worry about that. Manjeet, देखो, for YouTube EduTap scheme, no, that will help you to understand the concept in a better way, right? But if you're following schemes and you are able to understand from the Schemes tab magazine, you can only refer to it, right? But you feel like you can't understand the concept better and it has been covered in the scheme sessions, then please watch the session, right? Abhinav, YT content and live, there are 2 differences. First of all, the things that you're getting in crash course, you're also getting live classes, short notes, mind maps, current affairs test series, which is not provided in the YouTube sessions, right? If you're talking about this particular session only, so one or the two classes we are providing in YouTube just as a demo sessions. Okay, after that everything will be private. Rest about, if you're asking what Shamli ma'am is teaching, so see, we are covering the most important topics, but yes, you can still understand. No, there will be a little bit extra that will be provided in crash course, because here we are guaranteeing you the 100% preparation from our end and the syllabus, right? There in there, ma'am is, although she is covering many topics, but she is restricting to the most important topics of every chapter, right? And here we are having a wholesome preparation. Nimisha, you must be having a study plan, okay, in the course. There you can find it. Meena, I'll answer it in the next class, okay? Because amaranthus is basically a weed, right? It's not a field crop, so can't actually place it anywhere, right? It's a weed. It's not a field crop. And for kenaf, I don't have idea. For that I will search, right? I'll let you know. Sure, yeah, that's enough. And whatever the sir will also recommend how to have wholesome approach, he will tell you in better way. Okay. And section 10s are not there. Admin, I think you must have, if you'll open where summary sheets are present, no, below that you will find sectional test. Okay. Where is PDF? I think your answer. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Onkar. Means a lot. Where I can find PPT. PPT, I hope I've given the answer. Wherever the live course will be, below that you will find how many months. Okay, 5 ho gaya, ma'am, where the mind maps uploaded. See, mind maps of currently ESI you will find, okay, in the ESI section. For ARD, it is under upgradation currently. Please tell how to cover field crops. I think these are done. Welcome, Dexon. Admin, will you also provide this? Yes, Rachit, the PPT will also be provided. Notes from live class, or should we study Arun Katyan side by side during these classes? Ash, that's up to you. If you whatever suits you. The purpose of live class is just to make you understand the concept, right? So that you can, when you are reading on your own, you will have an understanding. However, you can even refer to the notes also. I think Arun Katyan would become bulky, because Arun Katyan, it's like generic. It will tell you of agriculture. It is not specific to NABARD, right? However, if you wish to opt for that, that is fine. But I would say like you should restrict yourself just to NABARD syllabus. Is the daily portion taken in class that we have studied daily with a separate daily planner? Nimisha, it is present. If you will find initially there will be a planner only. Okay. Yes, Jagdish, I'll convey that to the team. Noor, I and Ekta ma'am will be taking your classes. The majority of classes will be taken by me, but there are some subjects. For example, Ekta ma'am, she has done her masters in fisheries, so she has better hold in it. So some of the topics that will be where Ekta ma'am has mastery, because I'm from agriculture background and ma'am is from fisheries background, right? So in some subjects she has more knowledge than me. So we have categorized some of the topics where ma'am has more knowledge, and the topics where I have decent knowledge, so we have categorized. So we will be mixed, but maximum classes I'll only will be taking. Priya, dekho, disease as in plant pathology, it comes for the diseases. It is not part of your syllabus. However, it has been observed, some questions have been asked. So, there are some important crops that are present in your course. Okay? Of those crops, if you do the diseases, those will be more than enough. Nihal, summary sheets are present in, if you open the crash course is a bundle. If you scroll, you will find one ARD section. In that ARD section, you are going to get the summary sheets. Yes, Rohit, they touch all the points. And I request everybody from the next session also, see, if you have asked the doubt now, please don't worry, I will answer them. So if you keep on, adding more comments, so it will be just taking more time. Okay, I will definitely answer. I can see repetitive questions only. So please keep that thing in mind. Yashika, yes, I would just recommend attend the classes, do summary sheet. Please don't skip the summary sheet and then do the quiz. That is more than enough. You don't have to then do anything else. Okay. Sanjot, in C3, C4 CAM, I would say just remember the examples, especially of C4 and CAM. Okay, because it, as we have looked at, 85 are C3 only, right? But C4, it is something different. So remember, memorize that of C4 and that of CAM. Harsh, those are within 24 hours only, but I'll even convey to the team so that they can follow this. Okay. Divyansh, 5 months. I am well, you can ask sir also, he would be in better position to tell you. One thing is this, right? But I would say if we have done 5 months, that is decent enough. Yes, Prachi, you will get these lectures in recorded form as well. So currently you have joined live, no? Now below that there will, now after today's session there will be a recorded video that will be present in that particular section. Okay. Priya, it has not been asked yet now as of yet. So tomorrow we will try to cover that and the next 2 chapters. Okay, I hope, I think, however, maybe the cropping system might not be get completed, right? But we will try कि हो जाए, नहीं होगा तो आगे carry forward. We will carry it forward. You need not to worry, right? कि उसको हम कर लेंगे. Chayan, currently do summary sheets. Don't go for descriptive currently. Okay. See, देखो, go for summary sheet. Divyansh, go for summary sheets because they, of course, they have more content. However, if you feel like, you know, what we have studied, you have to just have a go through quick revision. You can refer to PDF also. ठीक है? देखो, in the supplementary notes, no, for example, the important agronomy crops, right, or important horticulture crops, some additional thing has been given. So basically what happens, देखो, usually they have provided, NABARD has provided a syllabus, but it has been observed sometimes they ask 1 or 2 questions outside that, right? So on that basis, then we have, wherever we have added supplementary sheets, no, it means that some additional thing was asked and repetitively have been asked. So that is why we have added it as a supplementary sheet. It means it is not part of the mainstream syllabus. However, questions have been observed and that is why we have added it in the supplementary notes. Okay. And that is why it is important to do. Vaishali, you can drop us a mail regarding the strategy and you will get connected. Okay. Archana, agriculture reports are very, very important to do. What do you want to ask from it? Please let me know. And see, I'll just take till 5:15. You should also, you all deserve a break. Okay. After that, we'll do. Thank you. Okay. Okay. Welcome, Nimisha. Here, is there any question? Sweksha, regarding what strategy, please may I know? Meditation, in such case, you would have to, you know, adjust the time late at night and early in the morning, whichever suits you. If you're a night person, please wake up till night and cover. And in the weekends, if your Saturday is off, in that, and your Sunday will be off only, right? Then that time you would have to go for attempt for 8 hours, 9 hours, because you would have to compensate for the daily hours. Those who are preparing on daily basis, for them on an average 4 hours are required, 4 to 5 hours, but for you, you would have to compensate, right? Oshim, देखो, it's something like related. What you can do, you can download the summary sheets. Like if you are thinking of buying the course, what you can do, you can just download the summary sheet, some print it also, so whatever suits you. Okay. And simultaneously, what I've been teaching, if you feel like, you can highlight there only in the summary sheet. If you printed it out, or maybe in the PDF form you can highlight it, you can do so. Or if you feel like some points you should have to write, you can do so. Okay. So this is something personal also, but I would say in the summary sheet only, if you would highlight some things, it would be a better approach, because then you would have all the content in a concentrated manner only. If you make your own notes, then you make summary sheet also, and then that will be very too much to do. Meditation, again, देखो how much time, it also depends on your learning abilities as well, right? So if you take time to read and memorize stuff, so initially it will take time, but then when your pace is set, you will be able to do so. ठीक है? Divyansh, देखो, we had to do concept check. I have actually added some questions currently, but because we could not do so, right? Time it got up because of some technical issues as well, and so that is why we are going to cover it in the next. However, you have sectional test in your course as well, right? Mansi, देखो, that's something up to you. You can, like, if you want to leave that, what we can say from our end, that questions have been absorbed from it. But then, whenever if the question will ask, it will be either one or two in nature, right? I would not recommend to leave supplementary sheets of all the chapters. But if you feel like that agronomy supplementary sheets are too much and it can't be done at this moment just for 1 marks, then you can keep it at less priority. However, questions have been asked, this I can say, right? Because I can't force you to, and it would be wrong if I would just force you to make you read everything just for 1 marks, right? So that liberty I'm giving to you if you want to risk 1 marks or not. ठीक है? अर्चना, देखो, वैसे तो some reports, for example, NABARD की report and agriculture census, normal census, these are important. And along with that, you're going to have sessions also, right? So I would say currently you just follow the schedule which is going on for you currently, because whoever the faculty will be taking the sessions for reports and census, no, they will also give you an idea what is important, what is not. But yes, agriculture reports, of course, they are important, especially NABARD's report. I would recommend you NABARD and agriculture census, so at least you do. Rest, the faculty will tell you. Okay. Welcome, uh, Sanjot. We have, can you tell supplements shorts of important chapters? Mansi, what I'll do of every chapter whenever we will be doing, if there is some supplementary sheets, I'll let you know, Hana, because that will be efficient. देखो, quiz are always beneficial to do. ठीक है? I'm just closing it off. I think most of your doubts are solved. ठीक है? Thank you everybody for joining. And to the ones, the audience we have in the YouTube session, if you want to be part of this crash course family, which will become private after 2 to 3 days, you can get the link in the description box and you can avail flat 50% off by using the code selection. ठीक है? Yes, Priya, that would be fine. Oshim, we in the course, if you go now, you would find a proper schedule plan we have made. If you just follow that now, and in fact, you can find videos of Ekta ma'am also. You can just look for the strategy for NABARD Grade A for 45 days. You will have the proper strategy Ekta ma'am has provided. If you just blindly follow that also, na, you would end up scoring good marks. ठीक है? If you just follow that. So that is all. Thank you everybody for joining, and all the very best. If you have any doubt, please ask me. I'll do that. I'll cover that in the next session. ठीक है? And that's all. Bye everybody. All the best for your exams. Yes.